This week on Cold Reality Radio, Obama amnesty, executive orders that he never really signed at all. Jerome Corsi points that out on what else we have here. You know, the amnesty thing, the push for just the push for the 2016 presidential seat should be very interesting. So this is kind of like a episode of Cold Reality Radio, but just kind of like a Friday night chill out session. Gonna have Jordan DeYoung on, and we're just gonna kind of bullshit about things. Maybe a little jamming. Here we are. And then I'm gonna check some of the levels here. And everything's moving real slow, and I'm hearing there goes that 96% CPU reading, which is never good. bring my guest in. Let's see what we got. See what we got here. Everything seems... I think I got to get a new drive in this Mac. It's dying. It's dying. It's dying. Hey, just kind of jamming here.
Oh, nice.
You know.
I'm trying to find this movie Lunopolis that was out in 2009. I watched it a bunch of times, and I might have deleted it. I found old 650 gigabyte hard drive, and it's got tons of backups on it. But
what's it called?
It's Lunopolis. Lunopilis. Lunopolis.
I've never heard of it.
It's a conspiracy movie. It's people are living on the moon who are from the future, and they're changing the present. And it's on no torrent site.
Really?
It used to be. Yeah.
Interesting. Ugh. All right, so I have to look into that. Maybe is it on Wikipedia?
It's on Wikipedia and IMDb.
Really?
Well, I don't know about Wikipedia. IMDb for sure.
All right.
I saw that link today.
All right, so let's I need to get the link to this to make sure that everything's going right here. See if I can find it. It's always a challenge. So yeah, it's been a little while since we did a podcast.
Yeah.
I'm back in the land of the living, you know, paying taxes. And
that's
so
not
it's
the living.
well, you know, back in the realm of, you know, the 9 to 5 type thing. I was out for about 5 months.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Congratulations then. I'm glad you got work.
Thanks. Yeah, it's I didn't think it was gonna pan out, you know, and I was gonna be able to find a situation like I've found. So it's actually been quite rewarding, I guess.
Yeah.
Because
I just got a headset tonight.
What's that?
I just got a headset tonight. I went out at about 8 o'clock.
Right.
Got a headset.
Yeah.
My old one it's been broken for a while, except the speaker part. So I just.
Well, it sounds good.
Good.
I'm trying to find this so that I can maybe tweet it out. I don't know. I can't find what I need most of the time. Let's see. I'll click on Twitter and then see if I can grab the link from there. And all right, it's right. Actually, it's right in front of me. So let's see this. And then see if I can grab the link from there. And all right, it's right. Actually, it's right in front of me. So let's see this. All right, so that sounds pretty good. The level. Go ahead.
Yeah, good.
So just I'll try to get your level. So what have you been up to?
I've been paying a close eye to this Ebola thing. Like you can Google Ebola bacteria,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll get just as many results. I found photos that say, Ebola bacteria colony. I'm trying to find pictures of Ebola next to a human cell.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
like the pictures I've seen, I don't know if they're artwork or what, but it seems a virus shouldn't be visible inside a cell. I mean, there's very, very, very tiny.
Right.
But
Let's listen to this back.
it seems a virus shouldn't be visible inside a cell. I mean, there's very, very, very tiny.
Right.
But,
Let's listen to this back. All right. There you go. Sounds pretty
Okay.
good. I'm going to
Good.
bring your level up a little bit. I'm going to
Yeah.
give your level a tweak there.
What else? They found a cave in Romania that may contain like a library of everything stored in crystals.
Right.
See if, I'll have to get the link on that. But
Yeah,
it's before its news, ancient holographic hall of records in Romania.
Right.
Stanford has recorded and played a movie, I think, out of crystals,
Yeah.
just like Superman.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I mentioned this some time ago that maybe, people are walking around with these diamonds and there's information inside of it.
Mm-hmm.
If you got it from a very specific place.
Gotcha.
Yeah, there's a Sphinx in Romania. It's mind blowing, because all we were talking about, is Egypt, and there's no other pyramids besides Egypt, and then you find out they're all over the place. China, Romania, and the history they don't want you to know about.
Yeah. Yeah. Why let us in on something that would empower us?
Right.
That's the stuff that just annoys me the most.
I was reading and watching videos. I uploaded a video on these Thracians.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pre-Roman culture.
Right.
Very big into gold, very high in technology, and they were said to have immortals.
Right.
And they're very holistic. So you can't cure the eyes without curing the head or without the body. You should not treat the body without the soul. And the treatment of the soul, so said, is by means of certain charms, and these charms are words of the right sort.
Mm-hmm.
And this is, to me, this is Plato's notes on it, or Roman notes on these Thracian doctors,
Mm-hmm.
who were probably at gunpoint, to these people that they hate.
Gotcha.
And so why would, maybe they were words, in that language that could work.
Let's listen to this real fast. Hold on. Gotcha.
And so why would, maybe they were words.
Okay, that's good because I made a setting change. So back to the crystal thing.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of things about crystals and how isn't there like something that has to do with our blood, like our blood is crystallized?
Yeah, we're a crystalline matrix. There's crystalline matrices everywhere.
And that's why we're like frequency based as well?
No, frequency will respond to any matter. It's just like the size of the piece of matter that you want to work on has to match the frequency.
Mm-hmm. So there's you hear these quartz crystals, right?
Yeah.
That they use to make watches and things like that, right?
Yeah, quartz has a specific resonance too. That's pretty well known.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was 417.
Right. So, what else have you been working with? Have you been?
Whatever this virus is,
Mm-hmm.
has been nasty, and that's about all I care about. That's like the first thing I scan now, where it used to be Lyme.
Right.
Now I'll go through the virus categories, which are about 900 frequencies now.
Mm-hmm.
H5N1,
Right.
Ebola, Lassa fever, D68, herpes, and Hep C.
And you're seeing a lot of this.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? How are you seeing this? Where are you seeing this?
On the Zyto,
On the Zyto.
I do Zytos and I do them for frequencies, and the frequencies they have to come from a category.
Mm-hmm.
We really don't know. With the OnDemed, a frequency could be like 17 different things. I've got some categories of frequencies from Pulse Tech that match maybe 8 categories.
Mm-hmm.
So there's really no telling what this thing is. I've seen it for maybe a couple months, but when the vaccine started coming around,
Mm-hmm.
the little girl got sick, and it was thought like someone who got the vaccine got sick and was missing school and seemed to pass it on, So
I would not be surprised if they started putting things like different things, like adding, like they've always had a baseline of some shit that was in this stuff.
Yeah, the thing is that it's not as deadly. Depending on circumstances. But I know someone was coming in June with something viral, and it was like it's multi-layered, with everyone, but there was a viral component there, and person was, very voice complicated issues where she can talk and then she can't talk if it's getting active, and this has been going on 6 months though.
Mm-hmm.
But fully ambulatory, all functions of the brain are fine. So that's marking non-encephalitic, non-brain rotting type of a thing. And now I don't know what to call it anymore.
Right.
But I haven't seen anyone pass away from it either yet. But
Well, do you think that some of this stuff could be like binary? Like
define
little pieces of this, little pieces of that, and then at some point it creates a connection, and then it does something else in the body?
Yeah, well, Jones has been promoting, I don't know what he calls it, but it's resveratrol, the red wine extract for DNA that is supposed to bind to your telomeres, which are the end pieces of your DNA.
Right.
And it protects them.
Well, this is the DNA force that he was talking about, right?
Sure, which I think would have to include resveratrol, because that's the only thing it's the only anti-aging supplement that I know that is anti-aging on the DNA level.
Right.
And he's promoting that. I think that's really smart from what I've been seeing in the scans.
Mm-hmm.
For antivirals that people are scanning for is like humic acid or monolaurin typically.
Mm-hmm.
And those are direct antivirals. You can go to Humic News, HUMICNEWS.com.
Right.
And you can see studies there. There's been studies done on AIDS and hepatitis C, immune function.
Mm-hmm.
And that stuff is extremely cheap. Monolaurin is from coconuts. And that's pretty cheap stuff as well.
Right.
What was the other one? Andrographis was an herb. I think it's from Sri Lanka, Thailand.
Mm-hmm.
Very good for upper respiratory.
Yeah.
And some people respond very favorably to that.
Yeah.
So they've told me. And that's a $10 supplement, which
Right.
is very nice. It's pulled me out of a jam a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta say, man, we probably spoke about 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, something like that. But you You sound like cognitively, you sound very sharp tonight.
I've
Like,
been doing a ton of different programs and different building of programs with my plasma,
right.
and I've been taking my diet very seriously. I've got 10 pounds of hemp protein. I went through that real fast. I got 10 pounds of chlorella at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm about 5 pounds into the chlorella. And chlorella pulls out heavy metals, and it's really high in protein. It's got a good omega profile, high in omega 3s.
Right.
So I think that helps.
Is that from bulk supplements or a
That's
different
from,
kind?
I got those from Z Natural Foods. The chlorella is grown in stainless steel tanks. It's thin cell wall chlorella.
Right. Right. I did purchase that. I'm sorry. I did. I purchased the chlorella from Z Natural. I got to get some more.
And spirulina too. I got that in bulk. I got bladder rack, which is a seaweed.
Right.
But I think it's the programs. But yeah, thanks.
Yeah, totally. I mean, you sound very. You sound, as I said. I mean, regularly you sound. I mean, sometimes you sound tired. You know, when we do these things, it's late. It's like after 9 o'clock, and you know, you got a full-time job, so you're up early and you're out. And tonight, you really sound like you did mention the coffee as well.
Yeah, I haven't drank a bit of that yet.
Okay. Right. I went out and I bought one of those Keurigs. And
cool. I've been drinking a lot of goat's milk lately too.
Right.
I got powdered from Moyenberg, and then I was talking about that to people, and they're like, "Oh, this store has it," and so I've been. It's a big store, and I've been buying them out of goat's milk, which is very highly digestible. It's this stuff is pasteurized, non-homogenized, because you can't sell non-pasteurized stuff. The expiration date is February 11th, 2015.
So really, it takes that long to.
Yeah, and I was
spoil.
thinking you got goats, and goats can eat basically trash, you know. But if you fed goats a better diet, then their processing ability seems to be so high that maybe, you know, the bacterial levels stay low for a very long time. Or there's immune factors within the goat's milk that keep it from spoiling.
Right.
There's in David Jernigan's Beating Lyme Disease book, which is it's a good book.
Have you been in touch with Jimmy lately? What's he been up to?
Jimmy has been busy as hell.
Now Jimmy is the head guy at
CEO of Pulse Technologies.
CEO of Pulse Technologies, right?
Yep.
And I've had him on the program before.
Yeah, that's incredible because it's rare that you get that guy recording. There's some videos that's it's like Her International, HER, and it's all an acronym. But they're kind of annoying to watch if you're just used to getting information because it has to be translated into Arabic. No, he's basically in a different country every week, it seems like.
Yeah, he does make the rounds.
Lots of development. I got a couple new people I think to work with that seem pretty serious, and I don't know. I think things are looking pretty good.
Yeah, there is a lot of bad going on out there, but it seems to be, you know.
Yeah, so like these Zyto hand cradles are basically coast to coast. There's people in California with them, and it's really a pretty good tracking system. And like, if I mention something, it's because I've seen something.
And you mentioned right before probably less than a week before the guy from Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. When I got the frequencies, I was like, "Holy shit! I already had one of the frequencies."
Yeah, yeah. You said it's here. You sent me a message. You were like, "It's here," and then we did a podcast that night, and then less than a week later, I guess it was maybe Tuesday. It was like a Thursday night, and then the following like Tuesday or Wednesday, the information came out about that guy in the Dallas area.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I don't know. Nutrition definitely modifies it a whole lot. Diet modifies it a whole lot.
Yep.
The Remember Andromeda Strain, where the only guy who survived was like a wino?
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, that is not the case at all. That is, I mean, the alcohol seems to be negative in this case. Hops and flax come up a lot, and I think there's a reason for that. So when you're working with those frequencies for the that nasty virus, it's about 87,000 hertz or something like that.
Right.
And there's a testosterone frequency that I think, it's from radionics rates, and it's from another like PEMF source. 1085 and 1444 hertz, and I doubled those and I put them into a calculator and it shot out like 86,666 was one of the convergence points. That's 10 hertz away from one of the viruses.
Right.
And like, what are you going to tell people? Like, oh, you have like testosterone might not be good right now, but there's super denial with everything right now. And then if there's not denial, they might feel like this is my time or something like that, And
right.
I don't really see it like that. Like if there's rates for it and you're not working them to the best of your ability, and like if you know about something and you don't do it, it's almost like suicide.
Well, there's a lot of people that are into, just knowing that things are bad for them, knowing that, and like smoking or drinking excessively. It turns out that, smoking marijuana or maybe doing cocaine or something like that is better for you than a lot of these things.
Cannabis can, I think, is very decent in this case.
Yeah.
But it coats the nerves. That's what the Rick Simpson patent says, is that it coats the nerves and protects them from damage.
So, among other things, right?
Yeah, among other things. But I think it may hurt circulation a little bit too, though, which is not good. But it just depends on how it's done, I think it could be done right, and I think it would be, a very good thing for this. And the hops is in beer, so like that in moderation would be fine. But if you torched your liver with it, it'd be bad.
Right. Absolutely. So I just got a retweet from Hal Anthony behind the woodshed, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think so. Let's see.
Oh yeah, so with Ebola, there's the whole thing with dogs. The dogs in Africa are digging up the corpses, eating them.
Really?
And, just running around. So this man's best friend thing. No, if there's strays, like the dogs have pretty much all been vaccinated for rabies. Which is that's immune system dependent. If they have to have a strong immune system when you get a vaccine, or else the vaccine won't work. So if one of these dogs is running around with like an immunocompromising virus or bacteria and gets this, it's not good at all.
Yeah, it's almost as if it was planned.
I see pit bulls like, definitely a few times a year. They're just they're stray. And I don't know if the Hispanics, they're fighting them. It's like some of those pit bulls I know for a fact were, like fighting dogs.
Mhm.
'Cause I know the people.
Right.
And it's like, oh great, this fighting dog is out running around right now. That's good.
Mhm.
10 feet away from me, just staring at me, and I have my bow in a case, but it's.
I hear you. Let's see here. Is there a chat down there? No. There are currently no chats in here. Let me test this.
Well, I know dogs in Africa, like the wild dogs, they walk around. If they're kids, they'd walk around with like a board on their shoulders to kind of puff up their dimensions, so that the wild dogs won't attack them.
Mhm.
And I might have the dimensions that a dog might not want to attack if it doesn't need to.
Right.
So maybe that's how I got lucky.
Right.
But yeah, this is before the whole rabies push and stuff, so it's just not good.
Yeah.
I did that biofeedback with gods. One of those frequencies was for herpes.
Mm-hmm.
And it was diagnosed in a dog that dog has had relations with.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, and has it on blood work from the vet and everything.
Right. Interesting stuff. Let me see. So, what has Jimmy been working on in particular when he's traveling around?
Well, when you introduce this technology, you have no idea where people are at. So
Yeah.
I think he's trying to bring them up to a speed that they can understand the functionality, or one level of the functionality. If he describes, 10 or 15 ways that it could work, or, and people can understand one, that's good. So I think he's trying to bring people up to a level where they start to work with this stuff and then get better with it, and etc. But there's no scanning devices. So with that company, you have to know what you have. If you know what you have, and it's been sequenced, so the virus has been run through like a DNA sequencer, RNA sequencer, and or a bacteria has been run through a DNA sequencer, then they can calculate a formula for it, and people can have good luck with that. If they run it every day, for a couple months or whatever it is to solve it.
So, for people that are listening for the first time, and we've gone over a lot of this stuff before, talk about Lyme disease and like how it's more predominant than it's being reported, and how it's a creation that Lyme disease was, and how Jones says that it's.
I can't prove it's a creation though.
But it's like a syphilitic, right?
With Lyme disease, it mimics so many symptoms, and with a healthcare, like the way that a doctor has to do things is they have to go by the book, or else they can lose their license. So they have to work on those symptoms of whatever disease the Lyme bacteria is presenting to the client.
So it's like a weaponized syphilis, that, to a sense, right?
Yeah, it's syphilis was a great imitator, and Lyme is a great masquerader.
Right.
And Lyme, I don't know. I don't know too many cases of syphilis really. Lyme migrates around the body, and will feed on prior injuries, locations, or weaknesses. A heart might be weak, and so Lyme might be there, or someone has degenerative joint, or some athletic injury. It would settle there. And then it can move. It can present symptoms in the brain, a lot, and build like eat the whole brain basically, creating MS and all kinds of things, depositing toxins all over the place. It creates ghost forms of itself, so it'll create a cyst that has the shape of the Lyme in it, and the immune system attacks it when it's not even there anymore.
Right.
It starts out with iron inside of it where your immune system can recognize it, and then after a while, I think when it becomes to the chronic stage, which keeps on moving from like a couple years, I think it used to be, and then 6 months, and now I think it's 3 months is considered chronic Lyme.
Right.
It's a nightmare, and I don't know if you get rid of it or it goes dormant, and then so many mosquitoes carry it. I mean, it's found in all bodily fluids, and dogs carry it. And something that I noticed when there was a Lyme social group at a time, there may be again, and I'm not aware of it. But almost everyone had dogs.
Right.
I think I have all the exposures I need from like spider bites and just fishing along rivers. There's so many insects, around the rivers.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's see. Now you were talking about these films.
Biofilms, yes.
These biofilms.
Yeah.
And
that's like a colony of bacteria, heavy metals, and other chemical deposits.
Right.
And it's impenetrable.
Right.
So what seems promising is a xylitol.
Right.
Xylitol is supposed to prevent any adherence of these biofilms to tissue.
Right.
But it has to be taken 6 times a day. So they've been running around, instead of, putting honey or something in the coffee, I'm putting xylitol. And then they'd use cranberries to heal, I guess, antioxidant damage and kill some staph. It doesn't kill all of them. The cranberries don't. But kills some. And then the lifting power, that the xylitol has on these biofilms. The lactoferrin was mentioned. That's an immune factor that's in cow's milk. I think it's in goat's milk as well. Yeah, biofilms are nasty. I have biofilms on my business card. On the front, I think I have about 6 different strains of Lyme biofilms that have been, microscope images of them. And I don't know if did you ever see the Japanese guy, Masaru Emoto, that wrote images on these bottles and then froze the water, and they all formed into the same crystals?
No.
Yeah, well, I had an idea that, so like water seems to have some intelligence.
Right.
And can respond to these images.
Yep.
So you can take pictures of the crystals, like you wrote love on the bottle, and these waters form crystals.
Right.
You could write dolphin on it, and they would form different crystals, I suppose.
Right.
So he had like a flashcard set. People read his book. They didn't get into the flashcards or the therapeutic side very much. Some people did. But if you took a picture of the crystal,
Hold on a
and
second.
somehow, okay, so I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on.
Hold on a second.
Yeah, so water takes the shape of what it needs or what is around it.
Right.
Am I still breaking up bad?
No, it was like when your
What's going on
voice
here?
was breaking up there,
Yeah,
I was
you
looking
know.
at the down the bottom. It says CPU, memory, net ping, and net uplink, and it was just all in the red.
Huh.
Just all in the red.
Great.
And it said it lost the uplink and everything. It looks like we're still on. Let's take a look. Let's see here. Let's listen.
Great.
and it said it lost the uplink and everything. It looks like we're still on.
Yeah.
So yeah, you were just like, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Right. So the whole idea is that water will take the shape of if you write something on it, that would change the water somehow. It has to be coherent. I think it has to be, all relatively. If you can't write, I don't think, love and then happiness, and have all these different ones. I think that would cause confusion.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, getting back to the business cards, they have Lime biofilms put on them, and I said as a joke one time, I was like, I don't know if this will work or not. I don't know if it works.
Mm-hmm.
But someone was very low on money, and I said one of the ways that I think that you could make a homeopathic for the Lyme maybe is just set my business card underneath a bottle of water. And I think she was pretty much struggling on a computer programming class that it was compressed and ended up with a 98%, and that was a Lyme person.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a pretty heavy class.
Right.
Someone else told me that it brings on symptoms of the Lyme, and then which is kind of a sign of a die-off. And then she said it only did that if she left it on there for too long. She said, I don't know if that meant hours or what, but it's interesting,
Yeah. Staff.
I got nothing downloaded. I have no internet, browser going. I just have
No. It's totally not you.
Yeah, staff. So with my business cards, like you go to Vistaprint. Okay. Yeah.
Go ahead.
So with the staff, I'm buying these. Can you hear me still?
Yeah, it's just I don't know what's going on, but something out there is totally fucking with our transmission. But that's not unusual, I guess. But go on.
Okay. You go to Vistaprint, you get some business cards. You can't just buy them and check out. You have to say that you don't want headphones with your business cards, thing on them. You don't want a TV with your business cards image on it. You don't want, coffee cups or T-shirts. I was like, hey, coffee cups. I'm down a coffee cup. I just broke a handle on one or something, and ordered coffee cups, 2 of them, because I had to get someone back for they gave me a T-shirt or something. I'm going to get them a coffee cup, and they had these staff images printed on it, And I told them, and they're like, "Oh, what is that image?" I was like, "Oh, it's staph infection. Isn't that cool?" And they're like, "No, it's not cool at all." So I was doing a Zyto scan, and staph came up as the highest thing, and I was like, "Do you have that staph coffee cup?" And they're like, "No, we've never drank out of it." And I'm in contact with staph all the time, and I'm always drinking out of that cup. I don't know how. That's weird because that's a ceramic. That's a ceramic cup, and it's printed on the outside.
Right.
I don't know how that would work so well, but it seems to help.
Mm-hmm.
So there was an Upright Citizens Brigade skit. I don't know if you ever saw that show. It only had 3 seasons on Comedy Central.
Right.
So there was a bakery skit, and it was called Happy Time Bakery or something, but nothing in there was happy. You had oat bran activists getting beat up by some blueberry muffin cops or something like that,
Right.
And then you had an abusive father. You had, and anyways, you would eat your problem, understanding the problem, digesting the problem, and then excreting the problem. And that's all there. Upright Citizens Brigade was interesting to me. X-Files was one of my favorite shows. Anything that was, I don't know. there seems to be more to some of these things than what they're giving out, or maybe it's just my brain going in directions.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the same concept, that you're taking something similar to what you have, which is homeopathy, and with the water and the photons, it would create a ghost structure that has nothing physical in it but a vacuum for these photons. And what I think is that the photons are leaving the bacteria to go into this water thing, and it's devitalizing, because you pull biophotons, you're devitalizing something.
Right.
Yeah, just very, very interesting.
Well,
I mean, someone would just have to listen to this, if they had something, and if they could get a picture of it, a real good picture, close up or whatever, and they could just print it off their printer, and set some water on it and try it, and it would basically be free, So I mean, I don't see any harm in it.
Right.
I would like to know if it works good. It kind of stinks, because there's no me involved in it. But
right. Let me ask you a question. When people come to you and they say things like I have cancer or some form of cancer, I'm sure you've had many people that have come to you and said that, they're dealing with some form of cancer.
Yeah.
What's something that you usually see when you do this? The Zyto diagnostic. What's something that you usually see that can be linked to, what you would think would be? Because they say that cancer is a like a virus or a fungus or something like that.
Cancer is when a cell, gets to the point of it's lived its life, but it doesn't die. So there's some kind of encoding problem that happens, and I think it can be caused from toxins, and toxins are in the biofilm. It could be caused from bacteria in these biofilm. And what you do, like for the biofilms, like chelation, I think is one of the stronger things we're finding out. EDTA, intravenous would be preferred. Lumbrokinase, definitely, which is earthworm extract. Nattokinase is what most people are familiar with, but that's about 1,000 times weaker, I think, literally. And you can tell when you take these things. And then artemisinin is the old standard Lyme biofilm destroyer.
Yeah.
And then the xylitol is kind of new.
Right.
So
I take that now in the form of that. It's like a sweetener. It's got.
And there's a lot of stuff with cancer. It likes low voltage. It usually likes high sugar. It likes a low body temperature, at least locally in the area where it is, if it is local. And it does not have to be. Most of the people that come and see me, because I'm telling you about like the doctor's protocol and how things are right now in the system, is that they have to run through a protocol, and it's always so much worse. Usually, so they do chemo. I think the Dutch did a study that there's a protein released from the cancer sites that create satellite clinics of the cancer when you do the chemo, and the original site may be destroyed or non-visible on ultrasound or CAT scans or whatever they're doing, but they haven't gotten rid of all of it, and then they wait 5 years or something for it to metastasize again. In that time, they might find it. This guy found it on his nose, but when I scanned cancer frequencies and I was running them, he'd feel it in his arm and kind of all over the place. And I think we had to do like 2 hours of support or something after that. It's really a lot of support to detox that.
Right.
So
And then you had the woman who had the thyroid cancer,
she's doing pretty well.
and she had that. It was that rare. I forget exactly what it
medullary
was.
thyroid cancer. That's on my YouTube.
Yeah, medullary, right?
Medullary thyroid cancer. Yeah, and she's managing.
And she bought a OnDemand device, and she uses it.
Yeah, she bought
frequently.
a PFG2Z, which is just the contact device from Pulse Tech.
Right.
It's $2,000, 3-year warranty, 0.1 to 10 megahertz, 0.008 hertz graduation, so you can do a really whole lot of frequencies and micro adjust the frequency to continue to match your disease state.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't do slight modifications to the frequency, you have to hit it right and get it all before it mutates. And if there's any mutations, then you're screwed. You can't do anything else because your machine can't change the rate slightly to match how the slight disease changes happened.
So the poor man's Rife wouldn't be able to accomplish that.
Poor man's Rife is pretty good. Poor man's Rife is pretty damn good. You just, because it's accurate, it just goes up to 20,000 hertz. That's a $750 plasma experimenter kit, which consists of a resistor, transistor. There's European automotive coil in there, which can do. I got it up to 30,000 hertz one time. They have it limited at 20,000 hertz, so you don't burn anything out. Even if you do burn something out, it's like a little $2 fuse now.
Right.
And that can be connected to a $100 signal generator, which is kind of annoying with a lot of those because they can't run frequency after frequency after frequency. You have to manually set them.
Right.
But it's impressing me. If someone's from OnDemand is listening, I would take that $750 plasma experimenter kit in a study versus the OnDemand. And I don't know what I'd have on my side of the table. I know they could bet they could hedge more money than I could, but just for fun or whatever.
Yeah.
It'd be a whole lot of fun. It still has a quartz blown tube, which transmits ultraviolet, which is the biophotons always have an ultraviolet component, then another spectrum of light, which you can accomplish with neon, argon. And I think xenon is one of the gases that's higher in that one.
And this poor man's Rife creates these?
Yeah, those gases are in the tube. And when you send the electricity through the tube, you're changing those gases between the gas and the plasma state. And the different gases put out different light spectrum,
right?
All within the same frequency pulsing rates.
Right.
But it's got a bunch for the body to grab. So if the body likes red light, there's some red light there. If it likes blue light, there's some blue light there. Green, there's some green there.
Yeah.
So there's only something to talk with the body as far as what color it is, and then the frequency only stays the same. And that one I think is a little bit higher electromagnetic field, whereas like the higher range plasmas, they've been fine with people who are extremely electromagnetic sensitive, can't be on a cell phone for a minute type of a thing.
Really? So there's people out there that get on a cell phone and it just like wrecks them?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. I think like anytime you use a cell phone, I think your bioelectricity goes down for about 10 minutes.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt that it interferes with these cellular micro voltages and just that low level millivoltage or whatever it is that goes on from cellular communication.
With the whole cell phones, like if you get a text, like there's power variances and the short pulses of things, and then like a text message is a different signal than a picture message is a different signal than like a video message. It's a different signal than actually being on the phone and talking to someone, which is rare now.
Yeah.
So there's some kind of frequency confusion there, and then you have the power confusion.
Right.
Not super friendly. Some people have no problems with it at all.
Right.
There's like MTHFR gene defects A lot of those people are chemical sensitive people,
Right.
people with very high levels of heavy metals.
Well,
I
yeah,
think,
you get that heavy metal buildup in there. You're definitely anything electromagnetically stimulating will interact with that for sure.
yeah, and then they have to be very careful, like the foods they eat, and
Hmm.
yeah, it's a complicated dance to work around these
Well,
things.
well, I mean, there's so much out there that is being suppressed by the American Medical Association, the American Dental Association, every one of these organizations that was created by Rockefeller and all these
Mm.
other bags of shit human beings.
Morris
And
Fishbein, who shut down Rife.
yep, he shut down. I read about him in
This might
Henry
cause some
Maykow's book.
disturbance in our call, but I think that they invented medical school because they couldn't understand homeopathy.
Right. I mean, I think they just created it because they knew that they wanted to dominate it. And I mean, I think it's very hard for people to understand that this has been a concerted effort throughout time to enslave, to sicken, to ultimately just destroy
Well, I think people
portions
are
of
addicted to
mankind.
being lied to, and if they hear, something that might be the truth, they might not take it as the truth,
Hmm.
until you prove it, basically, to them.
Right.
And with the way the economy has been, so when I first started out, I started out in 2004.
Hmm.
I think it was September. But anyways, people would come in, 10 sessions or something like that, and they'd drive an hour or 2 hours or something like that sometimes, and once or twice a week, something like that.
Yeah.
And that's just to feel like something from it, 10
Right.
times or something, just to feel something. So that's the kind of at a very long time to figure stuff out.
Hmm.
And as the economy started to get worse, my chances of eliciting effect and having a person come back, it would have to be within 3 sessions, and now
Hmm.
it's basically within one. I basically have to initiate some kind of change that a person can feel, and you're talking damaged nerves a lot of times, damaged systems. So, and what they can feel is not basically what I can feel,
Hmm.
or maybe what a kid could feel, or something like that. So you the system had to be completely streamlined.
Right.
Um,
Well, this is pretty wild here because I'm looking at Drudge Report and I'm seeing things like um, some kind of professor says, I hate that when it does that. Drudge constantly refreshes and it refreshes when you're reading it. First discovered aliens will be robots. Doctor says 10 million bacteria lurk on average office desk.
what
7,500
Go
organisms
back to
hidden.
robot
Yeah,
aliens,
let's go to that. Yeah,
because that's what I only heard, that the Greys were like robots.
it
Right?
totally could
That's
be.
when I listened to alien shows. They said the Greys were some kind of robotic race.
Hmm. Will the first aliens we find be robots? Intelligent life may have turned to AI by the time we make first contact, experts claim.
And it's
And
like,
that's
what's your understanding of a robot? Is the thing with like batteries, made of crystals,
hmm
and endoskeleton with living tissue on top of it. Like, and we've got our mineralized bones, and our flesh over top of it.
hmm
All our cells are batteries.
yeah.
So when you're connecting with this energy medicine, you're basically connecting with like the anode and the cathode of these cellular batteries
hmm
to charge them.
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, just wearing what the heck was it? Be honest with you, I took my car fob, the unlock, lock, pop the trunk, set the alarm off. I took that in, and I was holding that, and I took it into my chiropractor kinesiologist, and he said, "This thing right here will weaken you," and he did. He showed me how it did.
Yeah.
Because there's a
Well,
battery.
you know how I like to do it?
Yeah.
I like to, if you're teaching yourself on a muscle test, I do the middle finger on top of the index nail.
Mhm.
You know, and your middle finger is longer than your index nail. You keep your index finger straight, and you don't pick up anything at first. You just test your strength, basically, and that's what a muscle tester will usually do. They'll test your strength, you know, just to see where you're at, and then they'll start introducing the items.
Mhm. Yep.
So I will usually grab something I know to be toxic, like my like WD-40 or something like that I shouldn't eat.
Right.
Then I'll try something like a grapefruit or something that's pretty good, you know, high vitamin C, whatever. And you know, you'll see your stuff, your finger will be strong or weak.
Mhm.
And you could be in a supplement store, you know, and go buy bottles and, you know, muscle test yourself with your index finger or the middle finger over the index nail, and
Yeah.
you know, go through it like that.
Mhm.
And you
Right.
have to trust yourself. That's with the the vascular autonomic stimulatory response or the muscle test response. You have to trust yourself a bit, and because you are feeling stuff, but you're not used to going about life that way. So it seems to get better with time.
Yeah. For sure.
It's worth not giving up, anyways.
Mm-hmm. It's funny because I wanted to bring this up because this individual's out there listening now. I work with this person who works out a lot, and it's affecting his immune system because working out. I heard years ago. Not that I'm some like super intellectual when it comes to the body or the immune system, but I heard that working out too much suppresses your immune system.
Well, you could go with your acid thing there.
Yeah, well, I think the thing is that if you're
creating a ton of
sweating,
lactic acid if you don't have something to balance.
oh right, yeah, absolutely. When you work out, your body releases the lactic acid, right?
Yeah, try or give him some information maybe on beta-alanine, because beta-alanine is an amino acid that reduces intermuscular acid.
Well, I introduced this guy to Garden of Life raw meal, and I said, you probably want to put it in milk, and he put it in water at the office, and it just totally freaked him out, the whole texture of it. And he was like, I can't believe you actually eat that stuff. And
That's
I
a
was
rice
like,
protein concentrate, right?
well, it doesn't
They should
have the
gamma-razinol in it. Gamma-razinol is in studies for stomach ulcers.
right.
Usually, if it's a whole rice protein complex, it'll have some stuff to make glutathione. And whereas the glutathione-specific supplements are, like Max GXL, might be $120 a pop. These rice supplements can be, a lot cheaper, same effectiveness.
Mm-hmm. Right. So I mean,
So you can't detox something without the molecule that you're trying to detox, lead or whatever, being bound to magnesium and glutathione both. So if you're deficient in magnesium, which gets used, in the calcium pumping channels and the bones and 300 things.
Right.
So if he's working out, you deplete yourself more when you're working out than if you were to not work out. And you have to find like the right level of stress to put yourself through and have measures to counter it.
Well, the thing is that with this particular individual, at one time he was heavy, and now he's not heavy, but he's still got the mindset of a heavy guy. So he's like, I never want to gain that weight again. So I got to get ripped. And I understand wanting to look better and be in trim and everything. I don't know that I'm ever going to get to that point. I know that I can lose weight, but I don't, I really have to make a total commitment
to that. But he's done well for himself, but he just keeps on pushing it, and then he gets strep throat twice a year.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just that the mindset of a lot of people out there. It's like I gotta look a certain way. I have to do this or do that, or I'm not going to be accepted. I don't know if that's what his mindset is, but I know that he's kind of manic about it. But I think that if he hits he has to start taking the right supplements, like you say with the lactic acid. You got to take some calcium to offset the acidity of the body, because once the body becomes more and more acidic,
specifically beta-alanine, and beta-alanine's in a lot of pre-workout supplements.
Right. Yeah.
Just for that reason, is that the lactic acid is kept at bay a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're one of the people that likes to lift and then run, you might put an extra half mile or something, to your run or something, or kind of like,
right.
or maybe an extra set. But I don't think it would add reps like creatine would. Like if you're on creatine, you can usually what you could do like 8 times, you might be able to do 11 times. Helps kind of the higher rep stuff by improving like the ATP cycling, the adenosine triphosphate to adenosine diphosphate.
Yeah.
And that's how you're creating energy inside the muscles.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, creatine is great. Creatine's found in meat. Vegetables might benefit from. Make it with specific frequencies, and I can make it fairly strong concentrated at the same time maintaining a very small particle size in the silver. Mm-hmm. So you get the large particle size, you can't detox, the skin turns blue, it's not good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think I bought some cheap rum and I threw it through my distiller.
Right.
To purify it, and it really purified it. And then it purified it to the point where, I made colloidal silver for a couple hours in it.
Right.
And, shine the laser through it, you can't see the particles. That's the Tilden effect, or lack thereof.
Mm-hmm.
If you shine a laser through your silver and you see particles, you're not going to be able to detox them very well, unless you're a goat.
Right.
So, that's in my bug out bag now. My colloidal silver distilled rum or redistilled rum.
Mm-hmm.
It's good stuff.
So let me see here. So the overall effect of working out too much. What are some of the signs of that?
Well, you could watch like iridology's like the science of the eyes are projecting the health of different organs, and I think when you start to get toxic, you'll start to see the whites of your eyes cloud over to kind of a gray. But yeah, if people are working out and never fully recovering, I think you want to you want to damage like maybe like 5 or 10% of your muscles, and then you can repair that. You know, if you can repair it. And it's all a big question, and these repair mechanisms are frequency based. That's been proven by Robert O. Becker in The Body Electric, studying salamanders, chopping off their tails, grounding them out. They wouldn't heal. Measuring the healing salamanders, and they emitted a frequency. You take the frequency that the healing salamander is, using over to another salamander, and it would start to heal. So there's always a frequency component, and like the cell phones and these other things. I posted that video of Spider from Johnny Mnemonic.
Mm-hmm.
It's Henry Rollins just screaming about, he's like, oh, what causes all this stuff? He's like, what causes it? This causes it. This causes it. He's hitting all these electronic devices.
Mm-hmm.
And, he's like, they're poisoning the airwaves, but it's stuff that we can't live without. And it's Hollywood talk too. So, you got to see what stuff says backwards. We can't live without it. Live backwards is evil.
Mm-hmm.
We can't maybe commit evil without, these crazy, dirty type of electronics.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just pulling up this clip for you here.
Yeah, this is so weird that, I'm not even using any of the resources on here, hardly. And let me see if I can yank this guitar box out of here. Maybe that's doing it.
Yeah, it's just a little 31-second clip. I did a show with Vince, finally. 59 minutes, 59 seconds. It only got 34 views. But it'll increase over time. I've been doing these frequency forecasts. That's like my new video segment. So I'm sitting at the computer, changing or oscillating the frequency on the signal generator software, running into the plasma. And what Rife was observing is a flash that happened in these Petri dishes when he found the resonance that worked for it, that devitalized the microbe. I think this flash is happening when I scroll through and I find the resonance.
Test. Right. 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 No. Shit. I'm still getting this high CPU thing, man. I do not know why it's doing that. Let's see. This was happening the last time too. It's hard to tell. I was seeing your voice in the on the meter here, but now I'm not seeing your voice. No, no. I mean, when you talk, I don't see it. When you talk, I don't see it. So. Well, yeah, we got some people. No, no, we're just on Spreaker. No, no, just in general. I think Hal was out there, and he was on Twitter, and he kind of tuned in. Let's see what we got here. So that looks like it should be going, but I think I have to. Mm-hmm. 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 So hold on one second. Let's listen to this. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm totally not hearing your voice in the broadcast. Shit. And I don't know why. Let's see. No, no, we need to hear you. You're the most interesting man on the planet. Yeah. Shit. Yeah, it's something with the. Let me give you a call right back. Let me fix this. I'll call you within the next 2-3 minutes. All right. All right. Gotta make this thing happen. Yeah. Shit. Yeah, it's something with the. I gotta figure out what's going on with this sound. It's going insane. It's insanity. Insanity. Output, input. I don't know if it's going to be the case there, whether that's going to work. I should have just gone with the mixer. Let's see what we got. Trying to get this back up and running. I see my voice there. And then do I need this? What do I need that? My voice going through there. I don't understand why I'm not getting him or not. Let me see if I can pull up Skype. See if that works. Let me see if I can call him back in.
Hello?
Hey, let me see if this is. See, the thing is I should have hooked up the mixer here, but I've got some software here that. Go ahead and speak there.
Yeah, so I just posted a link to they're trying to develop a marijuana breathalyzer.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah.
Let's enslave mankind.
It's very murky on what good indicators are for impairment by marijuana use because someone could just smell like it or have consumed it a few hours ago, and it's difficult to say if they're impaired or not. Schleichly says. Okay.
Schleichly?
Not very schleichly.
All right. So
Yeah.
so your voice is back through here now.
Good.
It's just that look, when you're down at the Spreaker module here, it says CPU. Like right now, it's at 0%.
Okay.
Everything looks good.
That's good. That
And
sounds
then it goes to 4%, and then it'll spike up into like the 80s and 90s, and I think that's when stuff goes to shit.
good. This USGS map is not.
You don't like that GS, man? Let me take a look at that.
I don't like how few that it's updated. I mean, Pennsylvania's got 6 cases of dengue fever. Dengue fever can be transmitted by Africanized mosquitoes, which are being brought in from Latin American countries. And the reason for that is that those mosquitoes were GMO'd to outcompete species and be like little Bill Gates vaccine deliverers to these poor people who don't have access to our healthcare, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But
Well,
they have moved right up.
What's our health care anymore? Talk about what you know about Obamacare. Have you studied that in great detail? Right.
Not really at all. I know some government people, and like they ask, well, what about Obamacare? Like making me get it? I am a contractor,
Mm-hmm.
and so it can't be taken out. It can't be taken out.
Well, that's what. Let's just call this person E. That I've been speaking with lately. Someone who actually is, where this Obamacare is about to kick in, and he's like, dude, did you know that if you have to get this, and if you don't, you're going to get penalized? I'm like, yeah, I totally know this. Not that I'm, the brightest bulb on the tree, but it's just something like what I do. I study all the, what real news is and what our fake news is not telling us.
Yeah.
And this is just. Go ahead.
There's ways of determining frequencies for all this stuff. So, on one hand, I want to protect my body as my home, and castle law is applying to my body. And if someone's trying to harm me,
Gotcha.
then that's assault. So.
And I mean, now when they tell you you have to pay for coverage, or you're gonna get fined, and
I mean,
of
this
course,
is what you're seeing. Like people, our economy is shit, and these fucking like the richest people that have been scamming us, like these insurance companies and stuff, are throwing a tantrum now because people can't afford their health care.
Mm-hmm. And the Republicans aren't doing anything about it because this was largely written up by that
Republicans, Democrats, any politicians not going to be affected by it at all. You know that, right?
Yeah, because they've got their own health care.
They have their own health care.
But this was written up by what was that? Sean Hannity talks about it all the time. The what's that group? The Heritage Foundation.
Okay.
Let me just type in here the truth about Obamacare. It's bound to bring up
truth.
The truthicis about
all right. I
truth.
I saw this guy. It was he was like something truther, and he was saying how these there was a square mile, he said, of crows and ravens. I think it's just crows. I don't know where this guy was where he's seen ravens. I've basically only seen ravens in Canada. But square mile crows, tons of crows. I've seen a ton of crows before. And he thinks they were singing to these crows Christian passages. Mm-hmm. And he thinks he's going to bring these black crows, which are not. They're not a white dove. I mean, the white dove I thought was the Christian kind of bird. you wouldn't think of crows. Crows eat rotting flesh, which I think is perfectly great for Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
And these zombies.
Right.
And if we do have a collapse or something like that, and next year the crows don't have crops to eat because the farmers aren't farming anymore,
Mm-hmm.
there's going to be a surplus of crows, and I don't know what happens then. Maybe it's like the birds.
Mm-hmm. So it says here, the Democrats finally tell us the truth about Obamacare. Are there any of the things that the Affordable Care Act's loquacious architect Jonathan Gruber has been caught saying really that shocking? Did anyone truly believe that Obamacare was primarily about bending cost curves, lowering deficits, or easing the growing premiums of middle-class families? Did anyone but the most zealous disciples ever accept that this was about anything other than expanding Medicaid and creating bureaucratic mechanisms to better control the insurance market? And then, of course, Gruber says this bill was written in a tortured way to make sure the Congressional Budget Office did not score the mandate as taxes. Okay, Gruber explained to academics last year, if CBO scored the mandate as taxes, the bill dies. Okay, so it's written to do that, right? And what happened was at the very end, when it came down to that final Supreme Court justice, Roberts,
Yeah.
he deemed it a tax, and then it went forward.
I don't
And of
care.
course, he's
I mean,
compromised too. Roberts is compromised too because, let's just say, he's hiding a lot of things about himself, and that's how they like to do. They like to get Supreme Court justices in there so that they can compromise them, know things about them, and then be able to say, pull out the trump card when they need something desperately, and they really desperately need socialized medicine because they want to bury another nail in the.
Well, look, I mean, these mosquitoes, they're GMO. They're GMO African mosquitoes. They're basically made in Honduras. Don't ask me how I know.
Mm-hmm.
And they're around. I mean, if you look at this dengue fever map, they are around, and they're around the whole country. So if Chief Justice Roberts is listening to this, the CDC will claim 1 out of every 30 mosquitoes that bite you is carrying an infectious disease.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't call a disease infectious unless it's serious.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And then on top of the mosquitoes, we've had the ticks here for a very long time. The ticks are carrying bacteria, and you have to go to the veterinary world to kind of get the truth on like tick-borne disease, tick-borne illness.
Mm-hmm.
But there's stuff in those things that we don't know.
We're gonna find out in the future.
We're gonna find out in whatever future.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, what I see happening is, I think we're gonna go into like the ROL. Do you know what that WROL acronym is?
WROL.
That's something I found out about yesterday.
No, what is it?
Without rule of law. I mean, that's basically, if enough people get sick,
Oh, sure.
and this thing's basically worldwide. It's not so much in Russia as far as what the maps say, but I mean, who knows? I mean, everyone's traveling everywhere still, and it's baking up to be a really good, perfect scenario for something like this to happen.
What, Ebola or dengue fever?
Doesn't matter.
Or Marburg?
Ebola, dengue fever, Lyme, anaplasma, and the mycobacteria. Anaplasma is a mycobacteria. So
Mycoplasma, yeah.
Ehrlichiosis. There's cell wall deficiency bacteria that can't be treated with antibiotics at all.
Yeah, that's right. They don't have a cell. They don't have a cell
Gulf
wall.
War syndrome is an example of that.
The mycoplasms don't have a cell wall.
Right. Yeah. So they're fucked. I mean, I don't. There's no nice way to say it.
Mm-hmm.
And if I had it my way, if someone would have to prove that they are not in a sick state of mind, that they don't have their brain eaten out, huge lesions by these very aggressively breeding spirochetes, which occur from Lyme. They can double themselves every 8 hours.
Wow.
And they feed on brains, they feed on nervous tissue, they feed on the heart. And there's nerves in all these areas that will control different emotions. and
Creating a
things.
zombie.
Basically, yeah, creating zombies and creating tards and
Mm-hmm.
creating dead people. So I don't
Happy
know
holidays.
a lot of people that are doing things right, in my opinion, and definitely.
Yeah.
And the general populace has no idea, nor do they want to know.
No,
'Cause
they
they're
don't
in
wanna know.
fantasy,
No.
and they're fine with their fantasy. But
Well, I mean, it's
it's fine. I mean, these people with these genetic defects from inbreeding or whatever else, they're going to be the hardest hit by it.
well,
I mean, they made these things too strong, and then it's all over the place, and you're mixing. So you have this immigrant population. This immigrant population, they probably have bacteria that could kill us, but has been with them for hundreds of years.
hmm
Likewise, we have things maybe like Clostridium. That's
Right.
a fine infection for us, but it might be deadly to someone who's not used to it, like the way smallpox was
Right.
with the Indians and when the quote Spanish came over here.
Mhm.
So
So I mean, that's what the energy medicine is going to be for. I mean, we'll be able to zap this stuff.
well, yeah, and the early detection type that you can get out of the Zyto. So if an infection is full blown, like you'll get numbers out of the Zyto. These are
Exactly.
deviation ratios. 0 is a standard, no change in the muscle test. Basically, this is an electronic muscle test. Is the way I look at the Zyto.
hmm
And 100 is a high reaction. And then when a disease is like full blown, it's into the thousands usually.
Right. So when do you see like people with with cancer and different things like this? Do they have readings of things in the thousands?
Yeah, so the woman that was on the show, like usually it's over 100 and like how many things over 100, but then if you want to keep it at bay longer, you'd work these ranges below 100, like maybe down to 50 or 30 or something, or as much as you can,
Right.
and you're improving your homeostasis. I called it had cards that was like it was negentropy health, which is negative entropy. Entropy is the the delusion of things, chaos, all of that. This is looking at the Zyto's looking at chaos points, kind of.
Right.
And the less chaos there is in the body, generally, the healthier someone is.
Well, the inflammation. The
Right,
inflammation is a
yeah.
big thing that they talk about.
So like,
Acid.
if you have someone who is burning through a lot of fat, they have the fat. I think is stored toxins and things. That the
Oh, no
body
doubt.
can't
Yeah.
get rid of. So you're concentrating those toxins as you start to lose weight.
Right.
And there might be lipomas, and there's physical inflammation pouches that wall off these toxins or bacteria or whatever it is.
hmm
If you work out or if you get in a car accident or cause some trauma to those lipomas or inflammation pouches or biofilms, whatever you want to call them, you can re-release bacteria that your body had a hard time fighting.
hmm
And it gets re-released at a time when you're stressed or
So you should probably, along with, because I mean, for like 3 or 4 weeks, I did like a low carb type thing, and when you do the low carb thing, you're keeping the insulin down, and when you're keeping the insulin down, you're burning fat.
yeah.
So when you start burning this fat, you don't feel hungry a lot, but at the same time, your fat stores a lot of toxins.
Mhm.
So what you should probably do as you're doing, you always obviously have to drink a lot of water, plus maybe doing a decent amount of colloidal silver at the same time. Some of the chlorophyll or the Z
The only way
Naturals.
I've gotten like noticeable fat off of my body in the last couple of years is I do yoga and I do some exercises while I'm in my sauna, while everything, because the fat areas don't have good circulation, so they'll have low temperature. But if you
Right.
want to burn that fat, you have to get circulation to it somehow. So that's a sweatsuit or something. I think
Right.
sweatsuits were employed to French coal miners.
Mhm.
because they knew that there was a mercury toxicity there, and they had to sweat. Sweating was the best way to get it out, so these people were instituted to wear sweatsuits.
I think Jones had something on his site this week about obese people, overweight
He is.
people being more prone to cancer. I'm trying to look for this
I don't
story.
think that's the case at all.
Um,
I mean, usually if you do, when I see someone who is skinny,
Mhm.
they have digestive problems because we're in a country of excess,
mhm.
and there's plenty of stuff to eat, and
Oh yeah.
they'll like Crohn's. Crohn's, you can you're definitely gonna lose a lot of weight, if you have a
Right.
flare up of the Crohn's because you can't eat, you're
Yeah.
extremely sick.
That's what happened to Jordan Rubin.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The guy, the creator of Garden of Life, and then of course that created Raw Meal.
Mhm.
His
Right.
book was Patient Heal Thyself, where one side of the page was him at like 100 pounds or less with Crohn's disease, and the other side of the page was him standing on the beach after recovering from Crohn's. From, he took these not regular probiotics, but they were more like dirt bacteria or something.
Huh.
It was some kind of
one of the dirt bacteria is the Bacillus thuringiensis, which is the
Right.
BT toxin, aka Monsanto, gene
Really?
splicing thing.
hmm
But depending on what she's talking about,
Right, it's some kind of like a soil organisms. It was like SO or
pretty broad.
something, but it was but he said that was one of the things, and it's one of his products. I forget what it's one of his probiotics, and it's called I forget exactly what it's called.
I think
have to pull it up.
I think there's a prescription probiotic that incorporates humic acid in it.
Mhm.
The humic acid improves the action of it. The humic acid was in a study with the silicon dioxide, aka diatomaceous earth,
Mhm.
and in the presence of humic acid, E. coli would stick to the silica particles, but not without it.
Mhm.
So
Right.
all the minerals, all the amino acids are in this stuff. They're in angstrom size, which is 1,000 times smaller than colloidal. Colloidal is necessary to get inside the cell.
Mhm.
So if you're 1,000 times smaller, maybe you can get inside a virus,
Yep.
cotavirus. And I think that's exactly what they're proving. But it's very quiet,
Yep. So Jordan Rubin.
Jordan of life.
Homeostatic soil organism. More than 500 treatments from 70 health professionals failed, but Jordan was finally empowered to fight back against his condition by following a historically based diet, which rich in whole foods, nutrients, enzymes, probiotics, and homeostatic soil organism blend. And
Yeah.
of course, there's a picture there of him just like totally decimated, like really thin because he couldn't eat anything.
Mhm. Yeah.
Jordan Rubin, recovery from Crohn's colitis disease. So, wow. And so then, after that, he went on to.
His book, Heal Thyself, that's the whole thing is you basically do have to heal yourself.
Yeah, patient heal thyself. Yep.
Doctors have 15 minutes with you.
Mm-hmm.
If you see like a massage therapist or acupuncturist or whatever, like they might maybe an hour or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're working on yourself, you could do more.
Yeah, well, the thing here is that, I had several conversations with Mr. E, and he was like, when I told him, I said, I'm just not going to get any health insurance. And I said, and I'm going to fight with some of these organizations that are fighting Obamacare. And somewhere along the line, there's going to be, I'm hoping, there's going to be an opt-out or some kind of window or something that will allow an opt-out, or all right, you just got to do this or do that, some kind of loophole. And so that's what I'm hoping for. But I'm not going to pay $400 or $500 a fucking month
I don't even go to the doctors now.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I'm not
I mean,
going to
yeah.
pay that money. Fuck that. You know?
Yeah.
So,
There's
you
not
know,
the economy to support something like that here.
yeah. And I mean,
It's a pipe dream of
I've
theirs.
been, you know, I would rather take that, you know, like $200 or $300 a month and just buy, you know, the right kind of foods, you know, buy some, you know, really good iodine, buy
Sure.
some, you know, just vitamin C, buy some of that Z Naturals, you know, the green food.
$500 a month is generally, or it used to be what it cost for like a stage 4 cancer person to like get the supplements to kind of arrest the metastases.
Yep.
They're
And I just think that, and I really do believe that iodine has something to do majorly with the immune system.
Oh yeah.
What do you know about iodine? Because I listen to this Dr. Group, Ed Group, a lot, and I've ordered from his site, not so much from Jones's site, but I've gone to Group's site and I've ordered some of that oxy powder, and I've ordered some of the X2 iodine,
Yeah.
and I've been
I-
taking that, and I feel pretty good. You know.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to be said about iodine. I have Iodoral, which is a potassium iodine, and then I have Body Bio, and the potassium iodine's in a little tablet.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have Body Bio, which is it's mineral drops.
Mhm.
It's only like 3 drops or so that you need. With the mineral drops, they have a taste test kit, so you can get 9 very small bottles from this Body Bio company,
Mm-hmm.
and I know for a fact that animals will visit if they're in a mineral-rich area, mountains or so. They'll go to different watering holes that have different mineral contents in them,
Mm-hmm.
and they do it based on taste. We do this based on taste too. If it tastes sweet to you, it's good, and there's no sugar in it or anything.
Yeah.
And you just keep on doing drop by drop, and eventually you won't taste anything. That's where you stop. But if you go too far for what you could absorb for that time, it would taste bitter.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done this stuff for years, you know, and
Right.
it works out. But iodine's more important with women because it's used in the thyroid, the
Right.
breast, and I think the ovaries.
Right.
Ovaries or uterus, but they have an increased demand over guys generally.
Mm-hmm.
But then also, if you get a full saturation, the cell is supposed to be basically immune to whatever. I've heard that.
Mhm.
You know, basically from conspiracy theorists.
Conspiracy. There are no conspiracies. People don't talk to each other.
No.
Hey, let's go to lunch. That's a conspiracy.
Well, if you don't invite everyone, you're a conspirator.
Let's see what we got over here. I wanted to maybe jump into there's not too many people over in the chat over there at UCY. Well, it says 9 people. So let me see if I can. What the hell is that one thing there?
Yeah, I'll start dropping links in there too if there's anyone in there.
Yeah, I'm just trying to. I don't know what it is. I think maybe it's my my hard drive, and this thing is just kind of crapping out.
You don't have a
And-
solid state yet?
I don't have a solid state, no, but I'm thinking about getting one.
Oh, if anyone loves me, they're going to get me another one for this computer. a huge one.
Uh-huh.
I do all right with I got 2 80s and 2 computers, and then I have an 80 that was in my PlayStation.
Yeah.
That POS Standard Oil of New York crap machine broke.
Standard Oil.
Basically. Yeah, Sony Standard Oil of New York.
Really? Sony?
Yeah.
Sony?
Well, I don't know. That's what I.
They got hacked, right?
Some people say.
They
Paydays.
got it hacked. And it just goes up to like 92% CPU, and then I mean your voice did that like 2 or 3 times, but
Good. It hasn't
It
dipped
could have
out.
been because I'm on a wireless network and there's other people using it, so maybe that's what it is. Maybe the signal gets maybe weak, and then the processor tries to stabilize or something.
Sure. Sure.
I don't know, but yeah. So I mean, you've got people saying that that there are individuals in different cities that at different hospitals that were showing Ebola type symptoms, and then the hospital calls someone, and then these people that are sick get whisked away. You know,
I don't. Yeah. It's
so
not. It's not been declared anywhere that I've seen here, which is, I guess, good. But I really want the question answered: is it a bacteria or a virus? And then why is there the confusion? Why are there still pictures of bacteria with the name Ebola next to it?
I think that John Rappaport's kind of maybe saying the same thing.
Okay.
If you go to nomorefakenews.com, he's been
The
tracking a
virus
lot of
seems
this.
to move around. I mean, just kind of like Lyme, it moves around. I mean, the back.
Mhm.
The viruses can mimic different symptoms as well.
Right.
You know, stiff neck, back, fever. Maybe if you're healthy, but if your immune system's already been suppressed, you're not going to run a fever.
Right.
So you can't have that as the marker. I tweeted that to my senator. It's 9th district. Find his name. 11. No, definitely wasn't 11. But yeah, nice Republican guy out of St. Joe. And I listened to like a news article he did. And he's like, "Oh, there's new technologies where we might be able to pick this stuff up." And I was like, "Oh, great." So, Fred Upton, that's his name. Republican Fred Upton. So I don't know, but he hasn't sent me any messages or anything. With the Zyto computer system, it could be exported infinitely, and there could be 1 million of them in a month or something like that. They'd have to increase production at the company, or someone else would have to figure out how to, just take it over to China and copy it or whatever, get it done there, and but it seems to be something needs to happen like that. We keep the Ebola patients for 21 days. That's the thing. In Africa, it's 40 days, and that doesn't even catch them all. So here, where we have better healthcare, we'd keep people under observation for 21 days and then release them. But in Africa, it's 40 days. It's like that's kind of weird, isn't it? I lost you. I can't hear you at all if you're talking. Ro? Send me a message in the box if you can hear me. Okay. Yeah. You're totally offline. I can't hear you a bit.
There you go. I'm sorry.
Oh, there you are. You're back.
I hit the. I got this Microsoft headset, and it's got a mute and then a volume up and down, and my leg had triggered it.
Oh, I see.
Yep. My bad.
But
Trying to.
yeah, I've been working out pretty seriously, and things have been getting better with that. I've got my my tire punching bag that I built out of just used tires I got from a place and bungees, and then I drilled out some 1.5 inch holes for PVC to go through in 3 locations,
Right.
and it's awesome. And it only cost me, I think, $30 or something to do it. And then the other thing I've been doing is just because Lyme's neurological, and where I'm going to catch the symptoms of it are at like the furthest ends of my limbs. So I've been trying to improve finger strength,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been able to do like one arm and like one pinky now,
Mm-hmm.
and be able to do pull-ups like that. It's just like just one on the pinky, but I can do several if it's my index finger, middle, or my ring finger is pretty strong too.
Mm-hmm.
But it's I only work out when I know that I'm recovered. But if someone like the rowing thing is the biggest thing that could balance out your body,
Yeah.
because it's a full body exercise using your legs, back, and arms. And when you're pulling, like the muscles that are weak are going to be sore.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very naturally balancing. And like one of my favorite things I see with like the working out is friends don't let friends skip leg day. So yeah, my quads have 4 heads that you can see now. So I'm happy.
You young
I
guys,
don't know
man.
if that's the chlorella or what. I think it might be.
Right.
My old protein source was whey, and now I'm understanding that whey may have some inflammatory effects. And inflammation is not good for definition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just been, my energy levels have just not been what they need to be. But then again, I started, I've been getting back into just some bad eating habits, and so that's not good.
Yeah.
It gets and then when you're working, full time, it just gets it can get a little nuts, man.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, you have to start bringing like bags of cranberries and almonds to work.
yeah, for sure.
And just eat those. Like the protein to carb ratio on almonds is 6 and 6.
Yeah.
6 grams of protein, 6 carbs. Weird.
Is it?
You know what it is for goat's milk?
What's that?
It's going to flip you out. It's 9 grams of protein, 11 grams of carbs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what was old Bushy Boy reading when 9/11 happened? The boy and the goat, right?
Right.
9/11. It's like, I don't know if he came up with that or it's like, here, read this book. It's upside down and everything. And
It's I wouldn't put anything past these people.
who knows? I mean,
Mm-hmm. Let me see here. I'm trying to pay my cell phone bill online before they shut it off at midnight.
so are you voting for Ben Carson yet?
I don't know. I like Ben Carson, but he's
He's a neurosurgeon. I mean, being a neurosurgeon, he's been living high off the hog. They get paid like $600 to, over $1 million. He's probably in the $1 million range. So living
Right.
high off the hog, I don't know how you're that good at balancing a budget.
I'm just waiting for one of them to say America first, and I don't really give a shit about Israel. That's what I'm waiting for someone to say.
Well, and they're like the whole news is like black and white, and I'm like, no, we have tons of Hispanics. I think the major populations, and you have Arabs, and you have East Asians, and you have like Indian Asians, and there's all kinds of people here.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's black and white when like blacks are an increasingly smaller minority.
Yep.
More and more, especially with the borders wide open. I don't know how they're in the news as much as they are. It's unequal coverage. It's unequal representation.
Mm-hmm.
And they're unequally represented in the Senate, the Congress. They have no candidates, as far as I know, that are unless maybe like Ted Cruz is counted in there, but who knows?
Right.
I'm just saying unequal representation is taking place right
Mhm.
now, and it's
Yeah.
very blatant.
Hey,
So I've been trying to push this meme of I want to see a Hispanic, at least I want to see what they have to say in the debates,
Mhm.
but they won't. It'll be like Ron Paul couldn't even talk,
Mhm.
and he's been on the Hill for like forever, 40 years or something, right?
On the Hill. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw this. I was communicating with Payday this week, just briefly. Whenever I see him online, I just reach out and be like, "Hey, what's up?"
Yeah.
And so he responded, and I said, "Yeah, we got to get a round table going before the end of the year. Like the old days."
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
and then he sent me something. That it was like a 2.5 hour YouTube video, and I think it's going viral, like super viral. And it's about. I'll post it in the chat here.
Okay.
Let me go back and get what it is. Here it is. Let's see if I can.
I'm not in the chat. It was taking a while to load, and I think I might have found where I could pull up maybe some of those old shows. I found an old SanDisk player, MP3 player,
Mm-hmm.
that I think might have some of those great old
Right.
roundtables, like you and Payday and Greg and
I have them on my iMac, so I'll have to pull them out and I'll get them over to you. But this
yeah.
video is about Sandy Hook, and these like 4 or 5 independent journalists have broken this
No
thing
longer
down.
available.
And what's it?
It's no longer available. We need to talk about Sandy. ...
Let's see.
Quotations. This video is no longer available due to a copyright claim by Honor HO.
Oh
NR.
man. Yeah.
Network. NETOWRK is how they spell it. Fucking retards. I mean, like, YouTube can't, if they're going to dispel a copyright claim like that,
Mhm.
or put in a copyright claim, they're going to.
And I watched a good portion of it.
I mean, this typo right here is proof that whoever did this, is under some kind of infection.
For sure.
So,
Um,
or it could have been caused by an infection.
He pointed out in this video, they pointed out that 3 or 4 of the parents were like they said that they work for this particular organization, they work for this particular, and every single one of the organization was like one of these socially engineered, anti-gun, anti-this, and just like pretty much it verified a lot of the things that Wolfgang Halbig had said about when he went there, and he was like, hey, can I get some information on this? Can I get some information on that? And they were like, hold on a second, click. It's this video is, I'm going to send back to Payday. Oh, I watched some of it, and today it's gone.
Yeah, stuff has been disappearing off the net like crazy. I have been very actively trolling people, and things have been getting deleted. There was like an 18 or 20 comment thread, and they were using Bible verses, so I started using Bible verses, but I wasn't allowed to use them according to that person. And lots of ad hominem attacks on their end towards me, and they were deleted. I was censored. It's sick. It's like there's no debate. There's just censorship now.
That's right. That's how it's going to get done.
Yeah.
It's going to be copyright, and they'll just say, or intellectual property, and it's gone. And it's gone.
Yeah, intellectual property. That's what someone needs when they don't have an intellect, right? They need property of intellect.
Well, they need to attack things. They can't attack something face forward. They have to attack it from the side.
they have to attack it asymmetrically because.
Yeah, that's kind of fun too.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was Mark Dice had a video about satanic pamphlets got handed out,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a white boy and a white girl with Satan T-shirts holding hands.
Right.
And usually the media has two problems with that, and it's not their shirts; it's that they're heterosexual and they're white and they're dating, their own or whatever. And it would be the same with any race, trying to date their own within whatever Marxist colony we've got going on here.
Mm-hmm.
And on the Russia Today one, I said, let me know when you run that segment. I'll give you my PayPal so you can adjust me for the idea that I came up with for you.
Yep.
Yeah, nice little 5-minute segment or something that they could do off of that idea. And
Yep.
it's like,
So-
the Christians, like, they want to kill a Satanist.
Right.
That is very loving of them.
And the Satanists want to kill a Christian, right?
I don't think so.
No? Right. Well, you would think. But, yeah, I mean,
From what you're told, yeah, you would think that
Right.
from what you're told in the media.
right.
But
But I don't know any of them.
I think you and I know that our founders were Freemasonic, and Freemasonic, they are Lucifer, God of Light,
Mhm.
knowledge,
So do
all
you
this stuff.
believe-
Our country wouldn't have been founded if it wasn't for these quote satanic founding fathers?
Do you believe that the very onset of the creation of the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, was set up to create a country of freedom that was then used to, like back in the day, to say, okay, we'll use this country to do exactly what they're doing now with the effect that they have now. Do you think it was created then, or was it like a legitimate creation by all these so-called Freemason?
Well, I think there was a lot more. I don't know. Well, it's Freemasonic, They are. I mean, but I think things have been getting worse. I think the taxes have been getting worse. They're coming from all sides. There's all kinds of hidden taxes that we're not told about.
The Obama, there's like 4 or 5 or something of those, right?
Sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
and there's
one-
taxes on the foods.
Or no,
there's
22,
little-
I'm sorry.
Little symbols that will, that's a tax if there's a certain symbol.
Right.
That you're paying someone, you don't even know about it. And it's like, oh, it's just one piece and two piece that people forget about. And that's how some of these companies or some of these people generate enormous wealth.
Right.
It's by taking 1 penny, 2 pennies, whatever. But if you take it, a couple million times, it really adds up. But yeah, I think this country was founded by mostly Luciferian or whatever people that would be described today as evil.
So do you think
I think Rome fell 66 too, after Christianity was introduced there. Egypt fell after the Atenas cult was introduced, which they had many gods. Rome had many gods, and then so like women had like a female god that they could pray to. Many women, if they needed like a fertility god, they had like a female fertility god. If they needed, a goddess of wisdom, they had that. But now they have all the women worshiping just this male deity, and just believing what they're told is in the Bible instead of reading it so much.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean they say love, but it's like what is that? Is love the genocide of basically a few countries or illegitimate wars? Is that loving? I mean, hey, Greg.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Great. How are
What's
you?
up?
All right, you're still on the air?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
We got
Show
about-
time.
It's
Yeah,
the
we're
show
talking
up.
about dengue fever and satanic founding of the country.
Well, we got about 55 minutes left in this, but I think we could probably go for another hour after that if you want. So, I don't know if it'll be on air, but we got another 55 minutes on air.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's happening?
Hold on, guys. I got to put you on mute because I got to make a little bit of noise.
Okay.
See if I can get this little out right.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Oops.
I got bronchitis.
Yeah. So we're talking about working out. And,
Yeah. You'll thank us later. Ugh.
Austrian Death Machine.
Yeah. Where'd Greg go?
He said he had to make some noise, so he's gonna
Okay.
bounce out for a second. Do you want to play that clip I posted, the spider one?
Yeah, hold on. Let me find it. Let's see. Where are you?
You
No.
doing Christmas shopping lately?
Only for myself.
Yeah, I've been doing some for. I usually buy like 2 of something. You know, I figured, if I like it, someone else is definitely gonna like it as well.
Mm-hmm.
So like one of the things is I got 2 Spetsnaz shovels
Hey, Greg.
from Cold
Okay, we're
Steel.
back. Sorry.
We're pretty happy about those. We're going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Be fun.
Now you posted it. Was it the?
It's a short YouTube hash link.
Was it the one? Oh, yeah. Let me see, because let me click on that, and I thought it was.
I mean, it'd be more relative when we were talking about electromagnetic disturbances from, equipment, which is what is here.
But I'm clicking
Repost.
on it, and it's opening up, and I think it's what I sent you, or no? Oh, you sent. What the fuck?
There it is again. So
Okay.
I'm gonna pop out for a minute.
Okay.
So you guys talking about the world of decay?
We're just talking about. Hold on here. Is this gonna play? No, that's not playing.
Besides, you don't get this shit.
No, there it
man.
is. Hold on. From Johnny Mnemonic,
Let me tell you something.
From
so
who?
we get this straight.
a movie.
It's not my work
Oh.
out of this way. My work is clean. Besides, you don't get this shit from amp jobs. That's just a myth.
So what does cause it?
What causes it? The world causes it. This causes it. This causes it. This causes it. Information overload. All the electronics around you poisoning the airwaves. Technological fucking civilization. But we still have all this shit because we can't live without it. Let me do my work.
It was from Johnny Mnemonic. That was Henry Rollins.
Henry Rollins, huh?
Henry Rollins, yeah.
The punk rocker.
Yeah, but I think he had a show on. He got political there for a while, and now he's got like a gray hair. He doesn't, he looks totally different.
Who's that?
Yeah,
Ted
well, he-
Danson?
No, well, him too, but Henry Rollins. I never saw that Johnny Mnemonic movie.
Pretty decent. I mean,
Yeah?
he's using his brain as a hard drive courier service, and he can handle like an extreme amount of electrical downloads and re-uploads, but it's kind of scrambling his brain at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Because
Worth watching.
Sounds like real life.
Yeah.
well, Mnemonic, what was that like in the early '90s?
I think so.
I wonder if that was definitely before The Matrix.
Yeah, I think I was like earlier mid 90s, wasn't it?
Might have been late '80s.
Memory serves me. No, I think late 80s was Lawnmower Man.
Let me see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm getting that. I took inspiration from that movie.
Lawnmower Man?
Yeah.
They remade it. You see the remake they came out with,
No.
I think, a year or two ago?
No, I'll have to get that.
Yeah, they made it. I think it came out last year, so it must not have been that good because there's nowhere to be found.
1995.
Oh, I
Johnny,
thought it was
nowhere to-
90s.
Johnny Mnemonic.
So he took below average intelligence, is politically correct, and turned him into a super genius. With electronics basically, and I don't know what I'm doing is any different than that.
Yeah, a movie that just came out a couple of years ago about a guy who does that with a drug.
Oh,
Robert
yeah.
De Niro was in it. The guy from
Yeah,
Bradley Cooper.
yeah, the guy that was in
McConaughey.
No, it's
No.
Cooper from.
the guy that was in the Bachelor, the Bachelor part, not the Bachelor.
Bradley Cooper.
Bradley Cooper.
Okay,
Mhm.
yeah, Limitless. That's what it
Limitless,
was.
yeah. He was
Limitless,
in.
that's it.
I first saw him in Wedding Crashers.
I
He
mean,
was,
that looked like a movie
The
about
Hangover,
cocaine.
that's the one. Hangover.
Oh yeah, The Hangovers. The first
The
time
Hangover.
I saw him, he was in Wedding Crashers, where he was like the asshole that was going to marry Rachel McAdams, and
Yeah.
then they did something to him and gave him like explosive diarrhea,
Whoa.
which was yeah.
Well,
in the
everything's
movie.
got to have a poop reference.
Yeah, I
the
listened to some
movies
radio
today.
shows that are like that.
Right. Or the superhero El Poupe. Wherever he goes, he has to
That
take
Jack
a shit.
Black.
Hey, you want to go
Al.
for a ride in my new car? No, I better sit this one out. So what's happening, Greg?
Nothing. Working hard. To work late on a Friday night. Getting a bunch of things done.
Cool. It's usually
Got to get up there and save the world.
absolutely, and that's why you're on this show with us, because you're a world saver,
Well,
or at least you're trying.
I try to do my part, but we'll see what happens.
Greg,
Been
what do you think
working
about
so far.
goat's milk?
Goat's milk,
Yeah.
probably better for you. Goat cheese is better for you than,
Yeah.
cheese from cow milk. So why not?
I was telling Shally there's 9 grams of protein in it and 11 grams of carbs. And Bush was reading The Boy and the Goat. Remember?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So,
Upside down.
super Italian. Yeah, upside down as well. Yeah.
Yep, he was sitting there in that classroom.
How prophetic.
Mm-hmm.
Want
Not
to talk
reading
about
your
more
story.
things?
All the world's a stage, guys. That's all you got to know. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Just one big movie.
Probably somebody told them you're going to read this book in front of the kids, but it's going to be upside down. We're going to create a lot of conspiracy there. Try to cover our tracks.
Yeah, I create my own conspiracies. I did numerology on my neighbor's license plate. It came out to 33.
33.
Yeah.
What was that movie with Jim Carrey? It was 21.
20.
Was it 21 or 23?
Oh, it
23.
was 23.
23 makes sense, but
It was 23. I'm sorry.
okay.
That was a blackjack movie.
Yeah, because I
20
remember 32.
23. Everything came out to 23. It was bizarre. I couldn't even.
I mean, not every. I mean, you can't say that though, because it's
Well, in the
they'll come
movie
up with
it
like
did.
some harmonic. It might be like 666 or 440, or more like 528 related, or
Yeah, well, 440 is the A, like the A note. You're like,
yeah.
This one.
That's my favorite frequency. It's in more programs than anything else. Oh, 880 is, but it's first harmonic.
That's an A. And 528 is supposed to be the frequency, the healing
DNA.
frequency. Yeah.
So I think how like 528 works is if your DNA is screwed and you're next to it, being completely disassembled, it would be 528. But the longer it is, the lower the frequency would be, because the more you lower the frequency, the more you're creating gaps.
Mhm.
So the healthier you would get, I assume it would start to be a little bit of a lower frequency, maybe like 527 or 527.95 or
hmm I know that they. What was that movie that DiCaprio did, where they dreamed?
Inception.
Yeah, and she
Sheepshin, yes.
and the number on the in that hotel, or the it was like the room number was 528.
I'm trying to do Inception across the world right now. Just frequencies. Get on the same frequencies at the same time and pass out. And
I got to
Yeah.
get one of those 528 tuning forks.
yeah, if anyone's interested in community dreaming, get a hold of me. Or send text Mars 1999 and he'll tell you the truth.
Tex, I met him. He was
You did?
funny, man. Oh yeah.
He gives out. I mean, it's great information, but it's just it's half.
It's half what?
It needs to be filtered a little bit or panned. You pan it like some gold or some dirt to get some gold out of it.
Well, I met him in California. I was at this. I just went to this convention just for
Yeah.
the weekend, and he was there, and his wife was there, and he spoke, and then he hung around for a little while. So at some point between like the where they made all the food inside, it was like a Marriott or something. He just kind of was standing there talking to a bunch of people, like, kind of in a that's kind of surrounded him, and he was talking about a whole bunch of things. He's a very dynamic speaker.
Have you ever heard anyone talk about like Douglas Adams very much?
No.
So he wrote Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. He also wrote a book called The Restaurant at the End of the Universe. Like there was a time machine, and it was this restaurant, and people got to watch the universe explode night after night, like at a certain time, and then they'd have to like teleport back to an early time in the restaurant to go back. I mean, is there some time that the show is over? The Showa?
Which
You
one?
know, and what might set off the Showa being over?
I'm not sure. But I never saw that, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Universe or Galaxy.
You got to read the book, or like the old radio. It was, I think, one of the best produced radio shows I've heard from quite a few people. Where they
Movie
read
wasn't
through
that
the
good,
book. Yeah.
Yeah, that movie wasn't that good.
Do you think they just tried to dumb it down because it had good information in it?
I think the book emphasized don't panic too much for the Hollywood to like.
Mhm.
And Douglas Adams had some inconvenient belief systems that
Right.
they didn't really get into in the movie at all.
Mhm.
But yeah, time travel just requires beer and salt, and then you have to stick your thumb up, and then you also have to carry a towel.
Well, I got all that.
Yeah, I mean, that was the big thing about Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is,
I want to
If
go
you
back to
had a-
1984.
so like if you're traveling or something like that, you're like, oh, I have my suitcase and everything, and I lost it, but I had my towel, and then like people assume that you have everything else if you have a towel, because or else why would you have a towel? You could sleep on it; it's a defensive weapon. You could snap someone with it, I guess. Dry yourself off, shelter, lots of things.
Right. I got all that stuff, man. I'm ready to travel.
Good. Yeah. Don't forget to bring a towel.
And a fresh, and a clean pair of underpants.
Yeah. And when you're making your travel plans, you just gotta remember to get really smart before you make them.
Yeah.
Totally smart.
Be nice to do some time travel. But
Yeah.
does that even exist? I mean, does time travel exist?
Does time exist?
Well, time totally does, but can you
Yeah.
travel through it? We are every day we travel through it.
Maybe.
We need to take the big leaps.
I don't think you find out until you get dead.
Yeah.
That's when you go to the next. That's if you graduate to the next dimension.
Yeah,
I think if you want to live a long time, you can't stress out about every day. So I don't know.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't, matters and not matters at the same time.
Yeah.
You can live a totally stress-free life and then tomorrow get hit by a bus.
All right.
Unless the bus got a bowl and was dead.
Yeah. And believe me, there's a lot of people that do.
Or you could get on a bus and it could just start driving below 50 miles an hour and explode.
Or it can't go under 50 miles an hour and then it'll explode.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're driving down the highway circling the airport.
No one will get that speed reference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get off this exit. Why? There's all cars, traffic. Just go up on the shoulder.
It's like these 100 people on the bus are more important than the 1,000 people that we're going to smash when we go on the sidewalk with the bus. Just keep driving fast, damn it.
Don't hit that woman with the stroller. Oh, it's filled with bottles.
She's a
She's
whiner.
she's a whiner collecting bottles and trolling around the. What happens to shopping carts?
It's always those old ladies collecting all the bottles, too. Makes sense.
Yep. And where's Keanu Reeves when you need him?
Well, Keanu Reeves is eternal. He knows that time doesn't exist.
Oh, that's
could-
right. Yeah, he's like,
he's from,
oh,
like, the
bodacious man.
1600s
Oh.
or- Yeah.
And he got a new movie coming out, or it's out now.
His movies, like the movies are really good. It's just that, I don't know. You know, he gets a lot of shit for being a bad actor, and I don't even know if he's a bad actor or not. I've just heard that he's a bad actor so many times. But I know his movies are good that he chooses, or the screenplays that, you know, he gets picked out for him, or he picks out. They're really decent. Point Break, you know, and The Matrix. My Job, I think is like that cipher guy. He's just looking at numbers all day long, you know, codes, and then the codes mean something real and physical, but you're just looking at numbers, you know, but then it does something sometimes. Claims. So, Greg, are you in the part of New Jersey that's a huge port, or not so close to that? I thought New Jersey had a gigantic shipping port, or maybe a few. You know, I don't know.
Jersey.
Yeah, I look
Yeah.
for shipping containers quite a bit, and a lot of them are over in Jersey, or they're Louisiana, or
We got big shipping. We got big shipping port here.
yeah,
You know,
that's
Port
good.
Elizabeth, Port Newark, Port Elizabeth.
Right.
You know, we get a lot of oil here. We get a lot of cars here, shipping containers. Got huge,
Oh,
huge dock operations here.
great. Yeah, if I see like a 54-foot container home, it's like a Playboy model to me. Like you see like a 54-foot, you know, metal container on the back of a semi truck. I'm like, oh my god, we show me the inside of that? Take your top off, please.
A lot of people doing cool stuff with those things.
Yeah, they're really taking off. I check into them every couple months, and there's new designs. I was on a Romanian website. They had quite a few new designs that I'd never seen before.
Ready-made houses. You know, you can
Yeah,
have a structure up in really no time. Just set the footings, bang. You know, then it's
Yeah.
metal work, interior design, and you're done. They're secure.
yeah. I was thinking I think there's like Tyvek insulation that you could wrap around the outside, and then there's like the spray insulation. I think would be really good as well. And where I live, we get the snowfall where it can collapse a roof, but definitely not a container home roof. You know, and the thing
Oh
keeps
no.
down, and then therefore your insurance goes far down on your house. It can't be burned, earthquaked, to death, blown over, or blown apart. It could be blown over, but it'll be
Depends how you
structurally
anchor it.
intact. Yeah.
It depends also what's in it. It's the weight
Well,
inside of it. Yeah, if a tree could fall on it, it's not going to hurt it.
yeah, I can marry the right woman, and I won't even have to anchor it. Stay at home, women.
Well, there's plenty of them. There's plenty of them. Just go to Walmart. They're all over the place.
Walmart, where all the crows
Literally.
are watching for those the
One trip-
zombies to just drop.
One trip of Walmart will show you what's really going on in the world. Yeah.
Yeah, the craziest time I was ever in Walmart. Good looking girl, very short skirt, but there was something weird, and it took me a while to recognize what was going on. But she had like a full prosthetic leg on one side,
Mm-hmm.
and I was the only person to notice it. Like no one looks at each other. They're just complete zombies.
Yeah. Yeah, what's up with it's just a level of awareness that that I don't think most people have at all.
Yeah, I
You
was
tried-
listening to one. I was listening to a financial broadcast today, podcast,
Mm-hmm.
and reason being is I've been writing a bit about what's going on with the price of oil and what it really means. What's going on? It's a last ditch effort to try and save the dollar from collapse.
Okay.
And the reason being is that the Fed has been, with the quantitative easing, they have been buying the toxic assets from the member banks of the Fed and replacing it with cash. But they've had to keep the cash on reserve at the New York Fed to the point of trillions of dollars.
So there's
Estimates are anywhere from 2.5 to 13.5 trillion dollars, but nobody really knows. Everybody guesstimates, but it's up there. Worldwide, we know it's over 13 trillion.
holy cow.
And so the Fed is allowing the member banks to let the money out, but they're
Printed
not
money.
lending it. Right. It's it's all that paper money that was, but it was not let out. That's why we never experienced inflation. And people got, well, I guess they solved the problem. But now they're lending it to like Halliburton and all these mergers and acquisitions because they can borrow it. They're the only ones who are credit worthy enough to borrow it. So they can borrow it for 1%. But now there's going to be hundreds of billions of dollars sloshing around the U.S. economy. And the problem is
$15 an hour McDonald's.
they got to bleed that off somehow. They bleed that off by, when people buy imported goods, that money doesn't stay in the U.S. It goes to its origin.
Yep.
And Walmart's the major source of that. So they need to get people back in Walmart shopping again because Walmart sales are down.
Yeah,
No way.
Walmart. I'm buying on Alibaba. F you. Screwed up every town that I can think of.
Walmart's?
Yeah, Walmart's killed
Oh, yeah.
any sense of the local mom and pop shops where they could special order anything for you that was in their catalog. I mean, before the internet and stuff, and it's
And they just attracted filth. You know,
Well, yeah,
filthy
it's
people.
corporate degradation at its best, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Remember, Walmart was a store back 30 years ago, 40 years ago. They had a policy when Sam Walton was not, was it Sam Walton? Yeah, Sam Walton was the founder and CEO of Walmart, that 70% of all the goods in Walmart had to be produced and manufactured in the United States. You know, now what is it, like 5%, whatever?
Sure.
Yeah.
So, but with our current system, which is really, you know, this is kind of the nightmare scenario that people were talking about, all the gold bugs and everybody were talking about years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, Dollar Inc. is very strong in spite of their perceived weakness. It's still, I still believe it has the ability, if they can reset the system, which they will if they have to. They're just going to try everything they can, because the last thing that these, you know, that the tribe wants to do is give the money back to us. But
Right.
that's precisely what they're going to have to do. If it doesn't work, they'll probably put a moratorium on federal income taxes. But 2015 is really the fork in the road year that we're coming up to. Because if they don't bleed off the excess money sloshing around the economy, it is going to cause the hyperinflation scenario everybody's been predicting for the last 7 years.
All right.
Okay. And then the Fed will have no choice but to raise rates and turn on the printing press even more. And then that's going to be followed by a deflationary collapse, and poof, the U.S. and the U.S. and Europe and all the Western powers go up in a puff of smoke.
Cool.
No, it's not
I'm
cool.
ahead of the. I'm ahead of the curve here. You're not, but I've been living on like no income or you know, below poverty for 3 years or something like that. I'm used to it. Like if I need like a wire or something, I like assume to splice it together rather than go to the store, or you know.
Well, it's not so much like being able to buy stuff.
I
you
eat
know,
sticks and rocks.
consumerism. Yeah, it's what are you going to eat? You know, and for people like Shali and I who live on the East Coast,
Oh,
we don't really
Yeah.
have too many options, because the farms have been all, you know, they've been all destroyed and turned into housing development. To feed
Yeah.
the sheep.
it's so funny.
Sense at all. You take the most productive farmland because of latitude and longitude in the world.
Yeah.
You know, New Jersey. You know, this region of the East. The crop yields were through the roof, even with a short growing season.
Yeah.
And they just turned it all into suburbia. Yeah.
Yeah.
Big, gigantic suburbia. But I
Yeah.
tell people, look, if this fails, no sweat. Half of you will be dead anyway.
Well,
If
I'm
not
telling
3%.
Charlie that there's some kind of stuff going around that seems to be viral, and it seems to be connected to these mosquitoes that they GMO down in the Latin American countries to outcompete the native species, and also were injected with vaccines so they can help out the health and the welfare of the people down there. And they've moved up here just the same as the people from down there have moved up here. And I think there's going to be a lot of empty houses.
Oh, yeah, there's going to be a lot of problems. Most houses won't be livable because, again, Shali and I live in areas where everything's connected to sewer systems.
Mhm.
You know, and if dollar crashes, you got to realize the water, sewer, and power are going off.
Yeah.
You know, there won't be anybody to work the machinery, turn the valves, push the buttons, because there's no, you know, there's
You
no
need
money.
a well. Yeah.
So without a septic system, your toilet's going to back up.
Yep.
And then once that happens, your house becomes uninhabitable. So you're going to have just houses with 3 feet of shit in them.
Yeah.
Because,
And foot of mold.
and that's, yeah, uninhabitable. Like I said, the only thing you can do is burn it.
right.
And that's exactly what people will do. They'll burn it.
Yep.
Because at that point, you got to burn it, because otherwise you're going to have cholera and other, especially when the weather starts getting warm. Again, that's
Yep.
Mad Max scenario. you
Yeah.
know? Mad Max, but Mad Max scenario is, though it's not likely, and I'd say the Mad Max scenario is maybe no more than 3% chance of that. You know, chances are they could. I just don't think that they have a backup plan because we're not in control of our own destiny. You know, we're controlled by the tribes. So, and these people they don't care how many die. They're just like, oh, fuck it, as long as we live.
Well, they think that though, but I'm saying that they have genetically engineered some of these worst vector-borne diseases to a point that there's no hiding from them at all.
Mm-hmm.
With ticks and mosquitoes. And then that gets around to spiders because the spiders will catch mosquitoes, you know, in their web, eat them. They'll pick up those germs from the mosquito, bite people, dogs, you know, dogs come in, or cats, you know, with these things on them or with the diseases in them, and they'll spread them. And most people do not have immune systems or response mechanisms, or they haven't, they're not eating right. Like you said in the last show, Greg, you know, people already have, quote, you know, Ebola from McDonald's, which is like gut rotting, you know.
Sure.
Completely correct.
Yeah. So we're all screwed.
Happy horror days.
Happy horror days.
Yeah.
Happy horror.
No, but it's interesting.
days.
It's interesting. You know, I've been saying, look, they're lowering these gas prices, these oil prices, so that it's like giving people a raise. You know, it always leads to economic. You know, it's going to give people more money in their pocket.
Yeah.
And
well,
their
yeah.
hopes is they're going to take that money and run out to Walmart and shop, and that'll bleed off the inflation. And in the meantime, they'll basically, with all the mergers and acquisitions and stock buybacks that are going to take place over the next 6 months, which is going to be at least $1 trillion from early estimations, that it's going to be the biggest transfer of wealth that's ever happened in human history. You know, and I'll tell you what, the rest of the world is pretty pissed off about it. To be honest with you, they know it's coming, and they're just like, you guys are out of your minds. You know, you've given too much power. These people, they scammed you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, you know, our response to them, you know, and our foreign policy has gotten so ridiculous and naive that it's just basically like, well, we'll just Gaddafi you if you don't do what we say.
Mm.
So the rest of the world's fed up with the U.S. They really are. They're basically like, but, you know, we are the evil empire. The wrong people in World War II won.
Yeah. For sure.
No, it's true.
Oh yeah.
When I saw the gas prices drop, I was like, they were introducing, you know, where the quote quarantine zones are going to be. And I was like, well, if the gas drops, business can still continue if they drop the dollar of, you know, the gas down accordingly to match it. And at the same time with these quarantine zones, is they're not going to be able to take I-80. They're going to have to drive all these state highways, you know, and the state highways that promotes small businesses like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So in a sick way, Ebola could be great for the economy.
And you really think that that's real?
Well, if it
You
is
really
or
think all
isn't,
that's
but
real?
if it's declared and the quarantine zones are imposed and people are having to take state highways and having to stop at these local places instead of being able to drive from point A to point B, you know, like we've been able to do, you know, pretty fast, so you're going to have to take these long ways around, which will require more stops at hotels, more stops at restaurants, etc.
More bed bugs. That also carry disease.
That also carry Ebola. Hey, we're doomed. We're fucked. It's over.
It's just a chain. Everything's tied together.
There's a St. Louis encephalitis on
Oh, my
USGS, which is, you know, it's encephalitic, so it eats the brain, and it's viral, and it's St. Louis, you know, which is right next to Ferguson, right?
Oh shit.
So I was like, that's the first Ebola zombie, you know, basically. And I think I saw another one hitting like 20 people with a shovel on Live
Right.
Leak. I was like, yep, there's another one. I was like,
Hammer
could we
people hitting
please
people with hammers, right?
Yeah, they beat a
hammers?
guy to death with a hammer the other day over in Ferguson, right? Didn't they?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow,
They have-
man.
Yeah. St. Louis encephalitis, and then they brought in like the LRAD, and the LRADs I'd assume would be programmable. And
I think this is all a distraction to get us off of what's really going on, and what's really going on is the economics and geopolitics of the world right now.
right. And there's some
I
mass
think it's-
slaughters being done by some countries right now that wants to stay out of the news. I think too.
So this makes a perfect distraction, and it's got
Yeah.
everybody wrong. That's why they've been building up the whole white supremacist thing, and also the black supremacist thing, and it's just
Yeah. I was telling
My
Charlie,
head's-
we got so many races here. Why does it have to be black and white anymore? It's so fucking ridiculous that the Asians aren't included, that Hispanics aren't included. With representatives for their populations, and
well, that doesn't fit the mold. So this is the thing, and they've spent 50 years, destroying, really destroying black people.
yeah,
For this purpose. So it was done on purpose. Really, the answer to it's really simple. We need a war on stupidity,
yeah,
because stupidity is just run amok,
okay.
and
So
stupidity is what allows people to, that they don't want to propel their children forward.
Mhm.
So they create they call it a black culture, and then it's basically it's going to come down to we're going to come down to the point where the system is going to say, look, you have two choices. You either behave civilly and act civilly, dress civilly, speak civilly, or you'll be categorized as being uncivil. And we do not have to afford you any civil rights if you're not behaving civilly. So cops can shoot you just because of the way you look.
Yeah.
know?
oh yeah,
Because they're uncivilized. That's the whole thing. What's going on is that these people are getting up in protest, but then who are they defending?
Mm-hmm.
And then they claim it isn't happening to white people. Really? Seriously?
that's
You're not
that's
paying
not- we gotta
attention
take-
if you don't think it's not happening to white people. White people are getting as harassed, beaten up, and abused by police and black people more than ever. So it's not a race thing. This is just
Yeah, last
this
time
is
I was-
them. This is them trying to get everybody at it as a distraction, because while this is going on, nobody's paying attention to what's really going on.
I don't think they planned this event to happen, but they're definitely embellishing.
Oh no,
Yeah.
I think they wanted the riots. I think they planned it out and said,
Yeah,
let's get them
yeah,
going.
they
Let's
do.
foment. Let's get our media out there fomenting it and
Well, yeah,
stuff
but I
like that.
mean,
And it's exactly
but
what they
China
do. They're
owns a city in
doing
Michigan.
it on purpose.
China owns a city.
Yeah, China owns a city in Michigan. Like,
Which one?
legitimately, it's close to Ann Arbor. And Chinese they're very productive, aren't they, Greg? And the Ferguson people are not being very productive. And there are billions of Chineses that they could bring over here to be more productive than the other people. And yeah, it's going to come down to act, right, get with society, or you're going to be out of it. And I think the Ferguson thing was to push that.
And to foment people up and say, look how savage they are. And then because they're acting like savages. It's just,
Yeah.
and we're being abused. Yes, you were abused. Nobody denies you're being abused, but you're not acting civilly. If you act civil, you won't be abused.
Mm-hmm.
It just comes down to that. So, get over it. But they won't get over it because they've been so conditioned not to get over it. They can't get over the fact that and then they juice the white supremacist side of it. And for people to say like, oh, they don't realize, they say, well, this country was built by whites. This country was built by slaves. We're all slaves.
We're all slaves. Check your dick. If you're circumcised, you're a slave. It's in the Bible. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This goes way deeper than what a lot of these yahoos think. So it's sort of like, wow, it's all coming at once and everything happening the way it is.
What do you
I think they're
about,
just trying to cover they're trying to cover the rest.
what do you think about like the Bible and the Hollywood's dirty little secret? It's this video that Jesus was a nappy-headed, all these black features, etc. There's quite a bit there. And then in Deuteronomy 28:68, it says the Lord will bring you back to Egypt. Egypt's in Africa in ships. By the way in which he spoke to you, you never see it again.
But
And
first he
then
stops
there you will offer yourselves to sail to your enemies
in Tel
as male
Aviv.
and female slaves, and will be no buyer. But there will be no buyer.
But he stops in Tel Aviv first, en route to northern Africa.
Oy vey, it's a smorgasbord, a party. It's a goyim sandwich.
Goyim's 20% off.
BLG, bacon, lettuce, and goyim.
We feed them that fast food. They come and they clean our houses. They worship at our feet. Oy vey, it's never been better. It's good to be a Jew.
Yeah, I think the LGBT thing is kind of close, like the BLT sandwich.
LBLT.
I figured it out one day. Yeah, it's just like something else you need to add to it. It's just like LGBT sandwich there.
Lesbian lieutenants.
Yeah, bacon, lettuce, and tomato, and then guava on there or something. Guarana. Hype them up a little bit. Got some caffeine in it.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's the perfect storm. We're gonna have riots all over the place and provocateurs.
Well, I mean, even if we get like an EMP that affects, some states or something like that, and it goes into a scenario, there's just going to be starving people everywhere. It would be really sad.
And they'll come in and grandstand.
Mm-hmm.
They'll grandstand
Like
for.
our deer population, because the economy's been so bad, is like down to nothing. Last year I didn't shoot one. And I used to, they used to be like a big overpopulation. One year I got 10. I mean, but that was out of, there was 200 that I could see in one night, in that, not even a square mile. So it was a sick population. But now it's down so much that I don't even feel like going after them anymore. And that's what people are counting on. That I'm gonna shoot deer to survive. It's like I'm gonna shoot fish, and you can shoot all the deer you want, and we'll see who eats.
So they're over hunting it, huh?
Yeah, and like maple buds, the hedge maple bud is antiviral, and it's also edible. That's another thing. For like this virus that's free, and the hedge maples also are the same ones that produce the maple syrup.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like kind of the theory that you can't introduce something into nature, even if it is artificial, without nature coming. Plants produce so many chemicals, and plants are extremely intelligent, in my opinion.
Right.
And they will adjust themselves pretty quickly to situations.
That's what they tried to push in that M. Night Shyamalan movie, The Happening, where man-caused global warming, or CO2 caused these plants and trees to release a toxin that made these people jump off buildings and just kill themselves.
Sure.
Which
if we push
there any-
plants or
could there be any
certain
truth to that?
species that's able to do that,
right. So you think
yeah, but
that's
it won't be CO2 because CO2 makes like a tomato plant. If you increase the CO2 like a couple 100% even, you can grow like a 30-foot tomato plant. They did it in Japan.
yeah, they thrive. Plants
Yeah.
and they thrive on CO2.
But I'm sure they don't like coal burning plants. I'm sure they don't like nuclear, emissions when they happen from the dirty nuclear plants. And nuclear could be a lot better, but they just like Obama's not allowing any of those, or whoever is not allowing those to be updated and refitted, and it's just it's old nuclear technology. You know,
It's
we're all on windmills that break all the time, and so it keeps like it's like a working population of people on those windmills, and it's a very dangerous job. Those guys die all the time. Obviously, from falling like 300 feet or whatever those things are up. But, yeah, and
Those
those
things are
the
just
windmills
stupid.
are killing all the birds, basically, because they've got the flashing lights on them, and like birds for some reason go crazy with the lights, and then they also cause radar problems, which is a defense problem for this country. The carbon it could be metal, you know, because carbon runs electricity very well, and it also absorbs electricity. So I think it absorbs radio signals. So I don't know if we're getting like really accurate. We're getting probably less accurate weather forecasting from that. But you know, if some planes wanted to fly in here at real low altitude and had those wind farms mapped, you never see them coming, in my opinion, unless there's something that the government has that I don't know about.
right.
I've heard like the Ruskies have been buzzing like Canada consistently, and Russia's big about testing their weapons, and Canada has like their fleets, you know, kind of there, but the Canadian fleets, they are trained basically just to do their job, and like they know how to use the weapons, but they don't know how to use the weapons against live targets and stuff like that. So yeah, not good. But I don't think Russia wants to lose any of their population at all. The guy was saying it, they call it like strategic.
They can't afford to. They don't have that
Yeah.
many people though.
No. So they're going to use like their big guns. I think their big guns are energy weapons. And one of the memes I made is Obama is not looking right, and I think he's kind of like getting puffed up in the abdomen the last couple pictures I saw of him, which is not good. And he's leaning on a chair in one picture I have of him, and Putin's kind of grabbing his arm and smiling, but Obama's not smiling, you know. It's a lot of weird stuff.
So what do you think? What's the gut thing about?
I don't know. No idea. It could be anything. I mean, it could be a Clostridium, or you know, something really that's just caused by stress. But I don't know.
Well, I mean, he's
Worst case scenario, Putin has a vaccine that Obama, holding some vaccine over Obama or something like that. But I don't think that's the case.
Well, I mean, you see this situation over in the Ukraine that's, ongoing. And, like, what's the outcome going to be of that?
Well, that's a white separatist thing, too, right, Greg? I mean, like, no? Ukraine,
No, not really.
they have these, I thought, like, our tribal people were saying, we have these quote separatists, but it's all fake, And,
right, even
but
when they were dropping a lot of those pamphlets, the so-called anti-Semitic pamphlets, that was all just bullshit.
Well, anti-Semitic really covers so much that if they want to call you, if you say anything against a bank, if Jews own a great percentage of the country, and you say something about a business, if you say you don't like Walmart, that's anti-Semitic, in my opinion. And if that's anti-Semitic, I'm proud to be. Then or if it's banks, then I'm proud to be. But I know there's a lot of Jewish people in hard times right now too. That are merchants that are getting kind of swallowed by these larger ones. So
Yeah, they are a tight knit group of people, but when it comes down to it, it's everybody for themselves.
mm,
But they'll huddle together in
They're
good
being
times.
used like everybody else. They're
Yeah.
human
Yeah.
beings too.
They'll huddle around in good times, but when times go bad, they're like, "You're not getting any of my matzah."
yeah, I have a
Well,
year's supply
they're as
of,
brainwashed as everybody else. They had first had to brainwash themselves,
Hmm.
because they had to cover up, the last couple thousand years of history.
Hmm.
In fact, why they were kicked out of so many countries and so many, city states. The fact, and there's over the time when some of them do, recognize what's really gone on. They speak out against it. They come out
Yeah.
and say, geez, this has been horrible.
right.
Like, and then they get demonized by their own people, and
Gordon Duff is
So-
one of them. I think Stefan Molyneux is another. There's quite a few.
like Ben Friedman years ago.
Yeah.
He's the one who came out because he was involved in back in the turn of the century, and with the as part of the Treaty of Versailles and the Balfour Declaration. He was in part of the American Jewish Congress at the time, and he was in on all the meetings.
What was
But
his
he
name?
just said these people have a death wish. They want to kill all the, because the Jews have their death prophecy too. They believe, and again, like I've said before, they're not a monolith people. They have different aspects. But
Right.
the guys that wear the black hats,
Hasidics.
who are very dangerous, these are the ones that we have to be. The other people generally, but the Hasidics, guess what? They're not. Their kids are not eating the bad food or partaking in the culture. They're very, very strict, very
Right.
regimented. They're not
Yeah.
falling for it at all because they know it's all. They don't care if the other, like conservative Jews and the liberal Jews do all this, because they're just like, they're useless. Those are the fodder. Those are the ones they put out in front so that the next generation of Jews can say, they really hate us. Look how many Jews they killed. In the meantime, they'll go into hiding,
Yeah.
and they'll get out.
Well, there's a
And,
lot of
I
regular.
don't think it's been good that the Jews have been put in the idea of Jews and gas chambers synonymous with themselves over and over again in movies, with the whole synchronicity thing and the whole
Well,
Holocaust movie promotion. People just get that in their mind, over and over again, and that's how they associate them. And then, I think the future is created by these movies that we see, which, it spawns something.
Well, think about this. Think about it. Let me give you a scenario and think about it for a second. Suppose you were trying to convince a bunch of people who identify themselves as Jews that you were hated. Okay?
Right.
You were discriminated and you were hated. Now, it's pretty hard to do when you're the one holding all the money and all the power.
Mhm.
Okay? So, and according to their, Talmudic prophecy, that there is indeed going to be a Holocaust. Okay? Where
Yeah.
millions and millions of Jews will be incinerated. Okay? Now,
The incineration part is in there?
yeah, that's what a Holocaust is.
Okay.
Okay? So we know that what happened in World War II was nothing. There weren't even 6 million Jews in all of Europe living there at the time. So
Right.
how they came up with that ridiculous thing is just, they propagandized people to believe it. Why? Because it also sets people, at some point, it'll set people against them.
Right.
There wasn't
And
even
then,
1.5.
you will get your Holocaust, because at that point, the Goyim, at that point, when they rise up and overtake the Jewish power, at that point, guess what? It is going to be a Holocaust. It won't be what happened in World War II to them, which was mainly, typhus and the fact that the food supplies, they were doing okay.
Yeah, Fleaborn,
No, until
Fleaborn
Hitler's-
endless almost.
Right. They were doing okay until Hitler started losing the war. You know, if Hitler, if the Japanese had invaded Russia and kept their part of the bargain, then Stalin would have been beaten, Bolshevism would have been destroyed, and we would have basically won World War II. But Japan didn't enter the war. That gave Stalin a chance to move all his soldiers that were overtaking all the Mongol countries, you know, back over to the Western Front because they had time because of the winter, so they were able to train them all back. You know.
Yeah.
So, and then the rest is history. You know, the fact that Japan did not occupy the the eastern forces that were stationed over in Russia. They were all able to reposition themselves and go after the Reich soldiers. You know.
Right.
And had that not happened, it would have been a completely different story. You know, I think maybe that, and that's this